Well, I did move this table so Matt would have more room because he was stuck behind the
They
pole.
just stick the fat guy right next to the pole here so I can't get in now.
It's like the cheap seats in Kimball.
Okay, guys, we're live, and we're going to go ahead and start the city commission meeting, and we're going to do the flag salute followed by invocation from Pastor Matthew Hunt of the Faith Church of Kansas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Matthew, do you want to? Hey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lord God, I just thank you and I give you praise for this evening. I thank you for this opportunity that we have to come together here to discuss what needs to be done, to hear from the people of this city, to be able to focus upon the things that are important. Lord God, I ask that you guide us this evening, guide our thoughts, guide our minds, guide our hearts. Allow us to be able to look for the truth in all things. Allow us to have wisdom. And allow us, Lord God, to be able to, in humility, look to each other for strengths, to be able to do what's right by the citizens, to make this town a better place. We glorify you, Lord God, for being with us this evening, for guiding our abilities in what we do. It's in the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Matthew. Sorry to put you on the spot like that. Okay. So we're going to start off with the approval of the consent agenda. Was there any questions?
We need to pull the financials out of that. There was a cash violation in February that got taken care of in March and needs changed to February
Okay.
in the land bank fund.
Okay, we'll pull that out. Was there anything else? With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
A motion that after we remove the March financials, we accept everything else.
Second?
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. Up next is public comments, and we do not have anybody signed up. Oh, you want to sign up, Rob? Okay, you don't have to sign up. We'll trust you.
Sorry.
We know who you are.
Okay.
I'm actually going to be talking to you today as a resident at 1403 Ford Street, not as my job. I'd like the commission to think about possibly getting Wharton Street at some point in time and looking at trying to overlay that and fix that street. It's in pretty bad shape. I know it's highly traveled. And then when you do that, if you would look at some of the driveways and everything that come on to Wharton, like my driveway, the street drops down so far from when I exit my driveway, it's just a huge drop. So I'd like to see if you guys, when you do an overlay on that street or look at that street, maybe look at some of the egresses and egresses off that street to see if you can fix some of those large drops. So I would appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's one of the streets that's in our street plan that we'll be talking about tonight. So you bet. Kelly, if you could maybe go by and take a look at that or have someone. All right. Thank you. No other public comments. We'll go to appearances by Jody Hayner with the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team.
Hey, that mic's not on the podium.
Yeah, it wasn't on.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for letting me come and talk to you about our work. You know, I love
talking, and I love talking about our work. So we have been super busy. There are about 3 things that I'm here to visit with you guys about. The first thing is our Prairie Pathways bike route. The county and all 3 counties now have approved the bike route, and we've gone to all the cities and have just a great sweep, and it should be installing signs soon. We're planning a big party, a big celebration for Prairie Pathways on September 17th. It will be the same time as the Marmaton Massacre, so we did get Frank Halsey's blessing, and we will have it on. So we're going to have unveiling ceremonies in all 3 communities. So in Iowa, they're going to have a ribbon cutting. In Pittsburgh, we're going to have a ribbon cutting, and then we're going to have this big bike route ride that will ride to Fort Scott from both of those communities. And so we're going to have a band and T-shirts and all this kinds of stuff outside of our office at the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team on National. So from like 12:30 to 4 o'clock. So what I'm asking is that if we could perhaps maybe shut down the street in front of our office that day so that we can have those trailers out there with the band, and we're planning on having some speakers from the state come and having a good time.
And that would be what, the 100 to 200 block or North National?
So you guys speak my language, right? So we're
Right.
going to be from like Luther's to,
Hometown?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that, but you guys?
What are the dates?
September 17th.
I'll entertain a motion. There's no other discussion. You motion?
Make a motion that we accept that and close the street for Jody.
I'll second.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Okay, second thing that I'm here to talk about is this T-Mobile grant that the city of Fort Scott was awarded in October. I met with Doug Gunn and Kelly Zellner on it, and I've had a chance to go through and talk to a lot of community members. This fits in really nice with our placemaking package that Skitch and Josh Jones, you guys are on our committee and really help with that public input and that planning. So the T-Mobile Hometown Grant Program, when I got it, was a few months ago, and we immediately needed to figure out, the best place for it and have community input on that. It's all about, remember when we had that Health and All Policies workshop in January, and we decided that the next steps from there is that we're really going to do intentional work on building trust and relationships with community members. And so in order to do that, you really need to talk to the community and have them engaged in these types of projects and decisions. So, of course, we've been out in the community talking to people, and Rachel had an opportunity to attend the farmers market meeting and got about 12 farmers market individuals that are going to be a part of the committee. I wanted to see if there's anybody on the city that you guys would like to be a part of the planning committee. Also, the T-Mobile grant program, the first thing I did was address the things that had a sense of urgency, and that was the timeline and the location. The timeline would have given us only 6 months to complete the project, which is it was impossible to do. So they granted us a extension through March 31st, 2023. And they granted us the ability to move the farmers market pavilion from the original drawings. And they also gave us the ability to, they understand that costs have gone up. And so if there's not a chance that we're able to do like a full scope that was outlined in the budget, that we would just, remain in conversations with them and keep them up to date on what costs are and where we're at on that. So I did print off the new contract signed by Kelly and myself as a partner. And I'm going to give these to you guys. And I printed off, where the current location is now. And I made some copies too of this. I'm sure you guys all recognize this U.S. corridor book. And so that will help guide us in some of the decision making on what the overall vision and plan is. So the reason why this fits so nice with our placemaking project is we have another grant, well, 2 other grants through Patterson Foundation and Blue Cross Blue Shield to really do some meaningful work on the entrance into our community. So the archway can flow right into a nice farmer's market pavilion, into the historic site, into our downtown restaurants, and into the riverfront. And so it should all flow pretty nice. Any questions for me on T-Mobile grant?
Yeah, so what would the size of the pavilion be that would be going into play?
None of those decisions have been made yet.
Okay,
We are doing research. We went to Pittsburgh. We plan on going to Webb City. We heard about a mission. So we're just looking around. It's going to have to be right size for the space there and make sure that it complements the old Fort well.
Wasn't there some requirements on behalf of T-Mobile on how big some of this
No.
stuff has to be or how much square footage it
No,
has to?
there was no requirements like that.
Where exactly is it again, Jody? Where the pavilion will be going?
Well, we had envisioned it being right where they're at right now. It's on,
Right.
yeah.
Right where it comes in and splits out. Because I know at one time the discussion was to move Farmers Market back by Luther's back in there.
And from our communication and conversations with farmers market and community members, that hasn't been well received.
Right, exactly. And I'm glad you're bringing that
Which
up.
is why we called T-Mobile to see if we could move it back to where they're currently at right now, and they're way okay with it. It's articulated in that agreement.
That's
Awesome.
a question I would have would be, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff you do in town is great, but where I have a little bit of concern is this was a grant that came to the city from the Community Development Director and the Economic Development Director. We're paying Bourbon County Ready for economic development and for tourism. I'd ask Rob, I mean, were you signed off on this, or I thought you guys were working on the T-Mobile stuff over there?
I have not seen it. I haven't seen anything on the T-Mobile thing since right after Rachel.
Because I was a little shocked this morning that we got kind of the what was going on from you this afternoon, but I understand an announcement was made that we were doing this with Healthy Bourbon County sometime this morning at a meeting before us as a commission was even advised about that decision, or that decision
Well,
was being made.
we're not charging for this service, so
Oh,
you're free
I
to give it.
understand. I'm just
yeah.
trying to make sure the process is in line and ask some questions regarding, if we're paying Bourbon County Ready for economic development and stuff like that, I would think they would also have some knowledge of it or be involved as well. I'm not throwing them under the bus either. It's just I was kind of shocked that I heard there was an announcement regarding this morning, and then a few hours later, the commissioners got an email saying, "Hey, here's what we're going to do."
I just want to say I have no.
Microphone. People at home can't hear. I'm sorry, Rob.
No, it's okay. I'm fine with Jody doing this. I mean, I have no problem with her working on it. So I just want to make that clear.
Oh yeah, and
I
Rob didn't approach
I
me
didn't
about it.
approach
I had the question because, like I said, I got the email this afternoon, and then I was told by a couple of people that, oh well, hey, Kelly made an announcement this morning that this is the way we were going, and it is $50,000. I would think that would be at least something we'd be motioning on and voting on. For
Yeah,
that
and
amount of money.
let me kind of straighten that out a little bit. Okay, so to be able to do this, we had to check to see if we could, and that's why we had to look at the agreement to see if we can even enter into this. Jody had to do some connecting with them and getting some things straightened out on the timeline and everything. Nothing's set in stone as we've
Sure.
done an agreement, but it is up to the commission to decide this. Now, when we checked into it, and we wasn't trying to bypass Rob or economic development, was that you had two entities coming together, one at by Luther's and Jody looking at Scuba Square. So we started talking about the possibility. So this is the result of that possibility.
Get more bang for our buck and
correct.
being able to get the matching funds.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather spend the money on Memorial Hall, but nonetheless, I can't.
Will T-Mobile let us move to Memorial?
I can't. But anyway, that's the background. And so, being a little zealous, I told them up there at the quarterly meeting for the chamber that these are things we're working on to kind of improve the downtown, and so that's how you got the phone call. But we were on track to kind of do this and lay it out for you. But anyway, we still had a lot of gears in the works a little bit.
And I appreciate that
Yeah.
completely and fully. And like I said, Rob didn't approach me. I actually got a couple of phone calls saying, "Hey, what are we doing with the T-Mobile grant?" You know, I said, "I don't know." And then about an hour later, here came the email.
Yeah.
And I was caught completely unaware of it as well. So, I mean, I think it is something we should pursue, absolutely, because we can get more bang for our buck and kind of kill two birds with one
Well,
stone.
and then you guys will have to make a motion that you
Yep.
do want to enter an agreement with this with Healthy Bourbon County.
Okay, sure.
The proposed location, would it block the view to the fort?
Say that again.
The proposed location,
Well, you know, that whole strip that I put in that is owned by the city of Fort Scott. So we would have to have that conversation with the committee to see exactly where the location would go. I have a vision that it would go around about where it's at right now.
But you do envision we'd have some type of, not knowing what size, some type of pavilion down there in the farmer's market, because I think that would be such
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge benefit
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to that area down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would definitely need to have a conversation with Carl Brenner and with the people at the fort, because that will impede the view of the fort from Wall
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah, we discussed that today and making sure that they're on our committee somehow and keeping those conversations open on what I's we need to dot and make sure that it complements the fort.
So, I mean, I'm fine with going ahead with this. I would make a motion that we approve it, but that we'd also, before it goes forward, that the commission has an opportunity to see the final plans and approve.
Yeah.
I think you have process in place
Yeah.
with that design review board and all
Sure.
that stuff too. So.
the committee you have, I would love to, if Rob and a commissioner, that way it just streamlines things. Be on the committee that you have, if Rob would be willing to be on that committee, and Shane or somebody.
Yeah, Shane would be good, appropriate for that. Yeah. So Shane could be on that committee with Rob and Jody, and you guys can figure it out and make sure the old Ford's on the same team, and let's get her going.
Sounds good.
So we need to make a motion. Somebody needs to make a motion that we're going to put this in the hands of the HB.
We have a motion.
Oh, we already have.
Yes.
Tim,
Okay, sorry, Tim.
need a second.
Sometimes I don't listen to you.
You're not listening to me, I know.
I'll
Yeah,
second your motion, Tim.
Yeah. The only thing I had is just in the motion, if you can just add that the city commission and Rob be on the committee.
Yes,
So,
Rob Harrington and Shane Walker.
And did you say that we are going to get somebody from the fort on the commission?
We're going to ask somebody from the fort to be on the
Okay.
committee. Yes.
Bricks in the old fort. That's that guy. It's all about it.
Anything to do with the historic value of our town? Yes.
There's already a second.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Okay, so along the same lines of this is the last thing I know. I'm sorry, I saw you get
You're
ready
fine.
to move on, but this is along the same lines of this placemaking thing. We do have a required pledge from our Blue Cross Blue Shield to obtain those funds, and this isn't a legally binding contract or anything. It's a pledge, and Rachel has that. It is. I'm going to let you guys review it. Most of the time when we have communities look at these pledges, they kind of get hooked on this work with the coalition to determine how the project impacts population of focus. And then there's like all these different populations of focus. And it doesn't mean that you need to address all of those populations of focus. It means that you just pick a couple and you say, this project is going to impact this population. It's going to impact rural residents. It's going to impact low income residents. So those are going to be our population of focus that we focus on. And so what we will do after this is we'll develop a written agreement that the project is going to link to healthy eating or healthy habits or active living, which as it flows into the farmer's market, into Riverfront, it certainly will do that, and commits the space to being commercially tobacco free. So it's a tobacco free space. It will allow public access to the space, and it maintains a permanent structure for 5 years. And I think Rachel has some more to say on that.
Can we have Diane make some, or somebody make some copies of that? Jody? With it.
So this pledge is for the creative placemaking projects that we are working on. So we have 2 projects in Fort Scott that we're working on. The first one is the Downtown Arch, which Jody mentioned a little bit about and how it would flow very well with the T-Mobile grant. And this Downtown Arch will be head up by the Chamber of Commerce. And then our other creative placemaking project is our Stronger Together Building Up Our Neighborhoods. We had a public forum back in February, which a lot of the commissioners attend, so thank you. At this forum, we discussed increasing morale, community pride, and healthy behaviors, and what it would look like here in Fort Scott in 15 years. So we were also able to discuss potential projects, and the major themes were a pavilion with internet access, public transportation, parks, slides and natural obstacle courses, access to food, maybe like food trucks and stuff like that. So the planning committee decided that 3rd Street Park would be the best place for this project and to incorporate these ideas. So before moving forward with creating a sustainability plan with both of these projects, we will need to have the pledge signed, and then once the plan is created, we can go before the commission and get any construction approved. Do you guys have any questions about the creative placemaking pledge or projects?
Yes.
Can I just make a
Absolutely.
suggestion? I realize it's just a pledge, but there's fine print in here that perhaps this be tabled, you put it back on your next meeting so you guys can
Digest it.
digest it. If you've got questions, you can ask these fine folks, and I'm sure they can give you all the answers you need.
Okay.
I think that would be a better, more systematic way to approach it.
I can appreciate that. Would that be okay with you guys? Let us have a chance to read through it. We've been doing that here lately. We get things, we read through them before we say yes. It's a new thing we're trying out. So we've had some accidents fast.
Having good success with it too.
Yes, we've had good success.
Now,
We've made some-
Rachel, have y'all, do you have a location where you're looking at putting the park over on 3rd Street?
It would be at 3rd Street Park and just making improvements to the park there.
Still looking at an amphitheater?
No.
Oh, man.
we tried really hard. We got some quotes, and we feel like we can use the funds better elsewhere. So
We actually have a really sweet amphitheater. We just have to tear down Buck Run.
maybe.
Yeah.
I think your mic got that.
Okay. Well, we're going to table that part of it, and we thank you for letting us know.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else, Jody? Number 4. Can I put my glasses back down? Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. Up next, new business. Number 1 is approval.
Right.
Nope.
One more.
Oh, you didn't tell me she was saying.
It's on your.
Oh, sorry, Bird. I overlooked you.
I'm easy.
Stand
to
up, please.
You know. Thank you. As in years past, the class of 2023 from Fort Scott High School is respectfully asking that we be able to close Main from 1st to 2nd because prom is at Liberty Theater this year, and so we can have the walk-in and everything. We're asking if we can close that on May the 7th from 12 noon to 12 a.m. on the 8th.
Yeah, we've done that in the past, even there at the Liberty. So, and that's going to be sufficient for getting the cars in and out. They'll just turn. And
Well, they'll go up in the old days, up Judson, come across First, let the students off there at the end of First. They can walk down and walk in. Parents will have the barricades up so parents can sit for or stand for viewing, and then the students will walk in, and then the valet parking will be in. We're asking to close the parking lot here behind City Hall and the one on the south end of Cheney Witt
Right.
for valet parking. And not on this request, and I want to explain why it's not on this request. Some individuals who are not affiliated with the junior class in any official capacity, I know have approached a few members of the committee wondering if they can dance in the street. That is a school issue. That is not an issue for you guys. They are still students of Fort Scott High School. It is sponsored by Fort Scott High School, so we want to have them in a confined area. And so we're just asking for the street to be closed for walk-in.
Yeah, and we have a real stern dancing permit too that you would have to have for the street. So
Well,
that's
I just know some individuals had approached, and that is a safety issue on our part.
okay.
So we are not asking for that. We're asking for it to be closed so the students can walk down and people can view the outfits and that as we've done in the past.
Motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to close.
Real quickly,
Yep, sorry.
are y'all providing the barricades, or is that something we need to set up for you too?
In the past, the city has always provided those for us.
Okay. And was there something about a golf cart?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yes, we've also asked if we could borrow a couple of the golf carts for our valet parking. And what we have done in the past is someone has dropped them off, like we use the old carts, not some of the new ones. They drop them off at the high school sometime on the Friday. We use them Saturday, and they can either pick them up Sunday from the high school, or our auto mechanic department will take them back out Monday afternoon.
Is there anything else?
I'm sorry if I forgot something
That's
else,
okay.
not to my knowledge, and
Okay.
I'm sorry about the golf carts.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure you were still asking for those.
Yes, we were.
I think you
Sorry.
just need 2 golf carts. You said?
Yeah, usually we, in the most recent years, shall we say, some of the individuals that allow students to use their cars to come in don't necessarily want them parked anywhere, so they have been there to pick them up. And I believe last year we only parked about 50 cars, so that's plenty of time in between a couple people to run back and forth.
So I'll make the motion to close off Main Street from First to Second and the 2 parking lots, provide barricades and 2 golf carts on May 7th for the prom.
I'll second that.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Bert.
much. And Mr. Allen, as you know, I no longer stand on my right foot. I just stand on what's left.
Why'd she say that to me? It's weird. Thank you, Bert. Okay, up next, now the new business. Approval of best bid for general obligation temporary notes.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think Brett Sjogren's here. So if you could jump down to number 2, I'm going to go ahead and get some of the information.
Kelly's here.
Is he? Well, oh, okay, so
Brett is not here, but
I gotcha.
I'm here in his
Sorry.
stead.
Okay,
his look-alike is here.
yes. Pinch hitter.
So good evening. Thank you for having me. As you said, I'm here to report the results of the sale we had this morning. My name's Stan Jones with Stiefel Nicholas. And when Brett was here last month, you approved the sale of the temporary notes that we sold this morning that would renew the 2019 temporary notes. When we did that, since that point in time, we've had a few things going on. We've done a due diligence call, which we all participated in, including Kelly. We got that out of the way. We created an official statement that was We did that with the help of the city and with the help of bond counsel. I have a copy of it right here. This is a document that's used to market the bonds. For obvious reasons, and I only brought one copy of that.
Read through that real quick, Matthew.
Yeah, I noticed that you said you have to read everything policy earlier, is what you said, so you might be here for a
I
while.
probably just signed my life away earlier. But.
Another thing we did is we went through a ratings call. Kelly did a fantastic job with that. He really represented the city well, and we came out with a MIG 1 rating, which for temporary notes is the highest rating you can get. So it was really a successful call. That was there was reason to believe that we would get that, but there's always concern that you're not going to get the highest rating, but you did. It was fantastic. If you look at the first page here, that being said, of the handout, you'll notice that that represents rates, where rates have gone. The top one is for the last 30 years, and you see a general movement downward. However, the bottom one is a representation of how rates have moved for roughly the last 2 years. Like I said earlier, you had a meeting with Brett in March and authorized the sale of the bonds. And if you'll look at March 2022 on the bottom chart, you can see where the rates have gone since then, almost completely straight up. The bad news is the rates went up higher than we expected. We anticipated about a 1.5 rate. The good news is the rate is still at a ridiculously low rate, one that's far below inflation. As you see at the top chart, rates have generally moved downward for years and years and years, for decades. So having a jump in that nature didn't cause that much of a difficulty for this particular issuance. If you look to the second page here, these are the bids that we got this morning. This morning we opened up the bids at 10 o'clock in the morning. Banks were bidding online. They also go through fax, but all these bids came in online. And you can see that they range anywhere from 2.15%, which is the lowest, to 3%, which is the highest. The 2.15% was bid by Country Club Bank in association with a local bank, City State Bank. So the notes were sort of purchased by a local bank in conjunction with Country Club. Like I said, I think we still had a very good result. If you'll flip to this page with the stapled up pages and go to the second page, it's labeled as page 1. And it says sources and uses of funds. But I explain a little bit about where the money's going. At the very top where it says sources, you can see it says bond proceeds. That's $5,444,000 is what the bond issue generated today, and some change. Now you'll see also another source of funds called other sources of funds of about $266,000. That is monies that were left over from the 2019 bond issue. Not all the interest was necessary, not all the cost of issuance is necessary. So those monies were left in that account and are being applied to the new bond issue. So those are 2 sources of funds. If you go to the uses of funds, the very first use of fund is $485,600. That is new money in this particular issue that's going to be applied to the river intake project. That's one thing you guys identified you wanted to do with that. So that's where that money is for. The refunding escrow deposit, that's to pay off the old notes, the 2019 note. Capitalized interest fund of $181,000. That is to account for the interest as it accrues on these notes, because you don't make payments on these notes till the very end, to the very last part of it. And I'll show you that here later on in this document. And then, of course, delivery date expenses. Those are the cost of issuance and the underwriter's discount, the total cost, really. One thing I wanted to explain, I thought it'd be easier to show you than explain regarding the capitalized interest fund. If you'll flip to page 4. You can see this is where the interest is accruing over time. The first interest payment date, if you were making payments, would be 12/1/22. Then it would be 6/1/23 and 12/1/23. That those interest payments get capitalized and it all paid at the very end of the bond. You can pay it off early if you'd like, but that would be what would accrue if you pay it off on 12/1/23. And that's all I really had. I thought I'd open it up for questions if anybody wanted to ask. I think it was a very successful bond offering or attempt note offering. 2.15% is still almost free money, but it's not. I think we could have done better. I know Brett, when he came here a month or a month and a half ago, I was not able to come to that one. He probably gave you a lower estimate of what he thought it would cost, but we did not expect rates to move in almost a vertical fashion over a month. So,
Cost of issuance, does that mean, what is that?
cost
Put
of
it
issuance?
together.
Sure. That pays us.
Right.
That pays the bond council, which in this case is Gilmore and Bell. Pays the state treasurer because they're the paying agent on this. It'll pay the state attorney general. Every one of these have to go through the attorney general's office to be reviewed. I'm trying to think of those fees off the top of my head. That covers most of them, I think. But those are what those fees consist of.
And then underwriter's discount, is that just what does that mean?
That means when we sell the bond, when we sell the note, that's our fee.
Okay.
So yeah. So when we sell the note, we keep back a little bit of the proceeds since that we sold those notes.
Right.
It's not really a discount.
So it's not really a discount. Underwriter's charge. I
Yeah.
didn't see the dash in front of the number was the reason I asked.
Okay.
Discount usually means minus, but I get it now.
We're sneaky like that. in
Yeah,
finance.
that was a good one.
I'm glad you asked though.
Yeah.
You're not the only person to ask that question over time. That's
Right.
common.
Okay, so do we need to accept this or? Okay,
Yeah.
is there a motion to accept?
Yes.
Did you just vote, Bob?
No, I just answered your question.
I make a motion, we accept.
So is Country Club buying it all?
Yeah. Well, Country Club is going to buy it all within their name. The representative Lisa called us, and she wanted to make sure that the council knew that it is also participated on by a local bank. Yeah. So I don't know exactly the terms of that, but in some way, shape, or form, either the local bank's buying it all through Country Club or Country Club itself. But that's kind of how it shakes out.
I think they've done that before, maybe on our last one or something. So.
Yes. Okay, cool.
Is there a second?
I'll make a motion, we accept this.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Tim Van Hooky,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. You did a great job.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think we need to approve the resolution also.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I make a motion to approve resolution 20-2022.
Okay.
I'll second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hooky.
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. Up next, consideration of Lake Fort Scott dock bids.
Doug Gunn is here to speak to us about that.
Okay.
Okay, so the bids for the docks came in a few weeks ago, and I'm sure you have them in front of you. We got one bid, so it's up for your decision of what you would like to do with it.
A couple questions, and
Sure.
I suppose they're good questions. Those bids were cheaper than what I thought they were going to come in, and luckily we got a bid. That's the good part. You know, the second part is they have the concrete pavers I see, so that's a great thing. do you feel, is there rubber bumpers on these?
There can be.
Okay.
It's one of the options. So it would be something outside of their bid that we would have to put on.
Right.
Do you know what the cost of that would be on that?
Not offhand, no.
What was the total number? 12? I mean, how many docks?
Oh,
I think
maybe he was just bidding per dock.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the bid was per dock just in case we, didn't get them now, or we
Sure.
looked into getting a matching grant or something through, Fish and Wildlife.
Well, I know
But-
they're like 12,400 a piece, but did we
Yeah.
ever finally decide, on the initial amount that would come out of the lake fund as far as number of docks? And we were gonna try and get additional docks.
That
for
is
fishing.
totally up to you guys to decide.
We had, what we
I thought
had
it was
talked.
like 3.
The initial was 4, I believe.
Yeah, we had talked about 4, but I think we whittled down to 3, and we talked about putting one over for sure over at Scortino Park, replacing one back where they used to have one on the west side down there where everybody fishes, and then possibly the third one at the beach or down to replace the one at the end at the loading ramp.
Yeah, I thought we had talked about replacing the one at the end of the loading ramp and then taking that one and moving it over towards the beach area.
Yeah, and we can. That's why I was asking
Right.
about the rubber bumpers because we've caught a little bit of static about they're not as boat friendly, the ones that we have up there right now.
Right.
So we might be able to unhook those and move those to the other locations. And I think that's something we can talk about as we get the docks here. And I think that might be a good idea to put maybe one of the newer docks or maybe both, 2 of them up towards the front and then move the other ones to the fishing areas.
So they are completely mobile. So, I mean, even if we put them in one spot and it doesn't quite work for, the purpose, they can be moved.
Right.
So it's not, nothing is going to be stationary and static in one spot. So
And have you started, or have we looked at yet what we would need to put in those grants with wildlife and parks to get additional docks?
So the way it usually works with them, it's a matching grant. So whatever we ask them for, so say like, we have the price on the docks, we have the bids, we have the RFP, everything. That's all the paperwork that would be needed to be submitted to Fish and Wildlife for a fishing dock. Now they wouldn't fund a boat dock, but they would fund, the docks that Krantz Docks is the one that sent the bid in. Theirs were for fishing docks. So
So as long as we had no fishing on them, I mean no swimming, wouldn't they be fishing docks?
So, I mean, what makes a dock a boat dock would be cleats and bumpers. So, fishing docks sometimes have handrails and railings and things like that. Just for Fish and Wildlife to approve it, it would have to meet their criteria as far as what a fishing dock is. So,
Do these meet their criteria?
as long as they don't have boat cleats and bumpers on them.
And
Right.
we
For the most part.
put handrails on them.
Right.
Or guardrails.
So the ones that were bid are, if you guys have gone to Gun Park, the one that has the awning over it, that company provided that dock.
Okay.
So it would be very similar to that one, if not exactly the same,
I think
without
that
the
would,
awning on it, of course.
I think that would make sense for the ones we're talking about right now.
So can we authorize you to take this information and to go out for a grant on 2 fishing docks for those 2 other locations?
I can contact Fish and Wildlife and see when their grant cycle opens and what criteria we would have to meet. Yes. I mean, you guys can ask me to do whatever.
So is that you're saying approve 3 docks and then go out for 2 more?
Yeah, 2 fishing docks. That's what I had remembered us talking about a while back. Was we were
3 docks
we're gonna get
purchased and try to get 2
and
through
try
the
to
grant
get
program.
2 for the fishing. Yeah.
So is that a total of 5 or
Yeah.
2 and then?
The one on the west side where they fish off of, though, we don't want a boat dock over there, do you?
No, not necessarily a boat dock over
So where
there.
would the 3 boat docks go?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. The other ones can be they can be fishing docks as well.
Yeah.
Because
So how many boat docks do you think we need out there?
We were going to do the 2 up front, and then, from my understanding, move those 2 to 2 locations. So put the new ones with the new bumpers up front, and then the one over at Scortino was just going to be a fishing dock, and then we were going to go out to see if we could get a grant on the 2 other docks, the ones that we were going to put down on the far end where the one used to be down there, and then the one that used to be down there.
See,
aren't there anymore.
the one at the loading ramp would have to be a boating dock because you're going to unload the boats and tie them up down there.
I agree
So,
with that.
yeah.
So just to be clear on it, so if we buy 3, we're gonna have to set aside money for the possibility for a match on the other 2.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just want to be clear that, a matching grant, we would have to make sure
But
that
I-
we set money aside or that we have funds in place when the grant is awarded if we were to get the grant.
I think Josh's question right now is, though, are we getting boating docks right now? Because if we're getting fishing docks, we might as well go for the grant for those as well.
Right, yeah, I just didn't know if we needed 3 boating docks.
I think
I just thought maybe
How
2.
many community ramps are there out there? I just use the main one when I go out there.
there's
There-
3.
Yeah, there's 3, but there's mainly just the main one.
Yeah, there's mainly
Yeah.
the main one's the only one really used. The
Can you
back
show
one.
me where the other 2 ramps are at out there?
On an aerial photo, not.
No?
I'm not that aerial familiar with the lake. I can tell you where they are.
Okay, so Tim, there's gonna be one right here.
Is there a ramp over there?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, you gotta be a professional to back all the way.
Yeah,
down.
some of
It's
them are
straight.
not very truck and trailer accessible.
They fish off this. There's a lot of fish who use this spot right here.
Right.
But there's one.
So that cove this year, we actually moved one of the fish feeders down there because of the traffic that we get from fishermen. No.
Okay.
And then where's the 3rd ramp at? Mr.
Third
Mayor?
ramp's right back here.
Yeah.
Back on the backside.
Okay. I guess I just always use the main ramp up there.
Which
so
it
I
used to
wouldn't
get used quite a bit. Does it not get used very much anymore?
Down here?
Yeah.
Not very often. I mean,
Is that be-
down lake control, that's where Tom will dump in and fishermen and stuff dump down there sometimes. This would be hardly ever used for unloading boat. I've never seen a boat unload.
Well, do we want to look then at more along the lines of 2 boat docks and 2 fishing docks? I mean, do we need 3? If the one there in the middle is hardly ever used, why?
Well,
Yeah.
there's no dock here. We weren't talking about that dock here.
Well, I thought where the 2nd ramp was, you were talking about putting one there.
That's back here.
And the other ramp in the middle, the one you have to be a professional to back.
No, sir.
No ramp, no dock there.
No,
Okay.
there's no dock there, and we could put a dock there, but I just, that was not, we're discussing, Cortino Park, there's a lot of campers come up in here and park and camp, and there's no docks there, so.
So the only thing with Scorantino is
Right.
the incline and the height of the bank and things like that.
It'd have to have nice lakes.
Switchbacks, yeah. You'd have to do some switchbacks.
So that's beyond
Right, I get
the bid that we got.
Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, that's right. It would just be a dock, but now accessibility would be the
Right.
next. What do we do after that? So
Right.
that would be totally a separate.
Right, but I've looked at it over, and there's ways, like Josh said, you
Yeah.
can do a switchback, you can do a long ramp down to,
Elevator, lift chairs.
yeah. all kinds of stuff. It can do it, I mean, there's
Valet
people putting,
parking.
there's people putting ramps on a lot heavier
Oh,
stuff.
man. Oh yeah.
So Kevin, I'll ask Tim, do you think the main one needs a boat dock? A new one? The main ramp needs a new boat dock?
I don't think it needs a new boat dock. I think that those are sufficient, but we need
We
to do
need some
something with the.
rehab on it. We need
the
some
bumpers.
new bumpers and maybe some balloon type.
It's pretty
bumpers and
high.
Things like
Or
that.
hand out.
It depends
Complimentary
really on the
bumpers
boat
to
that you
people
have
for
as far as how
Okay.
high it is.
Yeah, I mean, and there may be something we can do as far as taking out floats. I mean, we need to look at those because it's like a 4-wheel drive dock, man. Those things are so far up there. So there might be a way we can take out some of the flotation devices to lower them down and put some bumpers out.
I mean, if you think we need, that number, I'm just keeping in mind, we started off with $500,000 out of the lake fund for these improvements, and if we can get by and make people happy with less than, 3 new ones, then plus the grant ones, that will give more bang for the buck for the other things that you wanted to do out there.
Right? I think you need at least one at Scortino Park, and
A boat dock?
yes, no,
A fishing dock.
fishing dock.
But right now, we're going for grants for the fishing dock. But how many boat docks do you think we need right now? Just one.
Where's it down at the
South,
end?
yeah, at the south and east side.
And then go for the grants.
I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know where the boat docks we need. That's why I was asking.
Well, we can always get more. I
Doug,
mean,
that
so-
main dock that we have over at the main ramp, is that something that we have the skills and capabilities to like rehab or re-rubber or whatever?
most of I mean, we can get bumpers that you just tie to the side
Yeah.
or that attach around the skirting and things like that. Yeah, we could rehab them.
Yeah, because I think the actual integrity of the dock itself is
Right,
not too
the
bad.
they're
Just
new.
the side, just
They're
the
not
sides
old.
of it.
It's just they're so high up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to have some.
I think we have some options, and we could actually. You guys, I'm sure, have been down at the lake a lot, but as you're looking at the boat ramp out on the one on the right is used a lot, but the one on the left not so much. So I mean, if we wanted to move that one down, and then just have one at the main ramp, or there's options.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I see people use that is they're fishing off of it.
Right.
They're not tying boats up to it. That's a good fishing
So
hole.
that could be, we move that left-hand dock down for boating, and we put a new fishing dock in its place.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. So you thinking order one tonight? See how it turns out.
Yeah, I just know the one on the south side, on the east, needs replaced. Other than that, I can't think of another boat dock that needs replaced.
So none at Scortino Park.
Well, no.
That's going to be the fishing one.
Yeah, I don't think you want a boat dock there, but you want a fishing dock, don't you?
Or put the other get two new boat docks. One on the south end, one new dock that's gonna go there at the front, and then move one of those docks over to Scortino Park.
Sure.
And have that one be the.
I like that. Yeah, so we'll move.
One that's really
I like that. So we'll move one of the docks that's already there over to Scortino.
Right.
The way the boats can pull up to it, doing whatever, and then we'll put a fishing dock back over where that one was. Means that's what it's mainly used for. There you go. So what are you gonna do, Doug?
Tell me clearly.
Who's
so I
on
can write it
first?
down.
So you're gonna go out. We're gonna get one dock.
So we're going to purchase a boat dock.
You said purchase two boating docks.
Okay.
I mean, it's up.
No,
it's
you
up
go
to the
ahead.
Commission. Two boating docks, one for the south end, and one new boating dock for there at the front.
The main ramp.
The main ramp. Possibly that one that's really high, and then move that one that's really high over to Scortino. And get the new one there, the one that's going to be used all the time with the new rubbers and the new cleats. Have that one up front where the main amount of boats are coming in and out. That would be my suggestion.
Now, how many do we want him to go to out for matching grants for?
I would say as many, up to 4, if he can get it. Because we have places where we can put those fishing docks everywhere.
Absolutely.
So that depends on what they will let us go out for.
So do that, Doug. We're gonna get 2 docks, and we're gonna go out for grant for 4.
Well, could we consider also, the possibility of, is there another, what do we have out at Rock Creek Lake
Rock Creek.
as far as fishing docks?
Oh, we got anything.
We got anything?
Yes, there are.
Yeah, there's fishing docks. There's nice
two,
ones.
2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were supplied by Fish and Wildlife
Yes.
through a grant.
So if we want to kind of get an idea of what we could go after, we could look at one of those as an example then.
Yes. But like I said before, all the kind of the background work has already been done with the bid and the RFP, and so it's easy enough to call our contact at Fish and Wildlife and say, hey, when do your grants open? We would like 4 fishing docks at the lake.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. And does handicap accessibility play into that at all with them?
We can check.
Yeah, please do, because that's one thing that gets mentioned a lot as far as handicap accessibility, and it's also to the beach area. That's a big one. Okay.
Will do.
So did
Need
we
a
need a
motion.
motion to accept the bid price?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to accept the low bid of $12,640 and order 2 docks, 2 boating docks, and also give Doug the authorization to go after the grant for up to 4 fishing docks.
Second?
I'd second it. I just want to add, if you're okay with it, that the capital for the purchase of the docks will come out of the Lake Improvement Fund.
Yeah, you can add that to my motion, Diane.
I second it.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Jim Van Hookie.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. Thank you, Doug. Consideration of mowing bids. Bradley Mackin.
Good evening. Due to some things going on, my voice isn't that great, so I'll try to get through this. We went out for bid on our mowing for this spring and summer, early fall. You should have the bid results in front of you in your packet, but you should also have our justification of what the city crews can do it for. I just let you, do you want me to read through the bids, or how do you want to do this, Diane? Do you want to just run, do you guys need me to run through the bids, or what? How do you want to do it?
I just had one question before you started on that. I know we talked about, and we're going to get into more about, the zero turn mower and all for the lake and where that's going to be used. But why are we mowing? I'm just curious, around Rock Creek Lake. It's not inside the city limits.
It's a city lake.
It's a city lake.
The city owns Rock Creek.
The city owns, and they don't own all the shoreline. They just own sections of the shoreline, if I remember right.
Yes.
Just sections. And is that all we mow? We mow the whole thing.
I think we know that whole area and always have.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they consider it, Tim, like Lake Fort Scott.
Yeah.
Park, fishing, recreation.
But I do know around Rock Creek that it is privately owned on the shoreline.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Just want to make sure we're not mowing.
No, we only mow certain sections.
Yeah.
So
Can you speak into the mic, please?
So we only mow certain sections of it. We don't mow the entire perimeter of Rock Creek.
Okay, I was just curious because I didn't know in the past that we were. That
mainly
we were
it's
doing
where
that.
there's a couple fishing areas where the fishing docks are that I spoke about. We mow, those kind of picnic areas and common areas where people gather, things like that. There's parking, and it's all part of Fish and Wildlife. They set it all up, but we don't mow the entire perimeter of Rock Creek. And I believe Mike Mix probably can speak on it better than I can, that the city has water rights of it, things like that. So the property that we maintain is actually city property.
Okay. Do we do much work on the backside? Because that's actually a pretty good site. I mean, people
Yes
go back
and
there.
no. We go back there and clean up. Is mainly what we do. There's some site work that really needs to be done, but it's kind of gray areas whether it's city property or not. So,
You're talking about back by the overflow, the dam.
The waterfall.
Let's not tell people about that. That's a hidden treasure.
Isn't it,
I
though?
mean, it is. I mean, it's beautiful back
I
there.
rolled a Jeep back there.
Yeah.
I rolled a Jeep one time back there, maybe past the gate a little
So
bit.
as far as maintenance of that area, we just we make sure that
pretty
it's
awesome.
clean, that it's accessible, things like that. But as far as improvements and things like that, there's nothing on the capital improvement or anything.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Because like I said, I saw that and I'm like, are we mowing Rock Creek?
So, Brad,
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
could just kind of run us through that a little bit and your thoughts on that.
Just how I figured the city of Fort Scott mowing is developing a mowing crew, which we mostly have already. But what we would do is take the labor plus fuel plus maintenance and went with a weekly bid that way. I hope pretty similar to what everybody else did when they bid on it. So I guess the best way is just go through these bids to help everybody understand. The first one was Lake Fort Scott and Rock Creek Lake. As you can tell, there was a bid for $975, $1,050, $2,500, and $1,950. City of Fort Scott, with 2.5 days of mowing, was with $150 fuel and maintenance, $450 per week. So significant savings there. Riverfront Park bid was $500, $800, and $1,250. City of Fort Scott's bid $356 per week. Water treatment plant, there was a bid for $500, $700, $645, $375, and $350. City of Fort Scott for the water treatment,
420.
$420. Yes, sorry.
That's all right.
Wastewater $450 $450 and $28.50 for ours. Wastewater $292 per week. And then the code yard's a little bit different. It's a little tougher because you have size and you have quantities. Bids, we'll just go through small residential. There was a bid for $18, $20, $50. Then there's large, 6,000 square feet or more, $30, $25, or $100. There was also a total summer season bid of $18,000. And what we came up with was $22.76 a yard. Without knowing what we're mowing, I couldn't come up with a size differential. So that is what we came up with. Again, I feel comfortable with our numbers, but ultimately it's your decisions, and I'm open for questions.
My only thing is, you know, on all of them you factor in fuel and maintenance, but on the code yards, you didn't factor in fuel and maintenance on that.
That was with what we did with that is went per hour. We just added the dollar per fuel in there.
And the only thing I didn't see on any of these is depreciation cost of equipment. And so, like, we're getting ready to go out to bid for a lawnmower at the lake, 15,000. So, like, when was the last time we bought one for the lake? But before this year?
Without a bin was not denoted lake. There was one for the parks bought 2021.
So I'm just going through. I don't know how often we buy one for each department, but let's say it's 4 years and they're 14,000. So we factor in 3,500 a year in depreciation. And so I don't know if that plays.
I went very generous with the fuel and maintenance costs. So I just wanted to make sure that was a rounded number to make it fair for everyone.
So basically what we're saying is the two places we could save money are that $350 bid on the water treatment and then the either $18 a yard or the $18,000 for the season on the codes. The rest of them, we're going to save money staying with the city crew.
What my outlook on it is, water treatment, wastewater will be a crew. That's one crew, one trailer, 2 mowers, doing that all. That crew will also be helping maintain some of our other waterways, which our street department usually takes care of. That would eliminate our street department going out and weeding and mowing. Okay. That would be that crew.
Okay.
They would also pick up some of our other city properties. And also, as Doug knows, we're not doing as many seasonal help out the golf course. So they can go help with that also. Riverfront, we have a gentleman down there that takes really good care of that area. And then of course, Lake and Rock Creek's one person, 2.5 days. But if you look at that, it's not just mowing out the Lake and Rock Creek. He also does the daily trash route, clean up for Sorrentino Park, just in case there's parties or whatever, weekend lake cleanup, general maintenance around the place, and he also takes care of the rearing pond of all the fish.
Is it your feeling that you think the city crews could do the whole thing and save money this year?
Definitely.
Does that include the codes, lawns?
That's the only one that I'm doubtful for.
Okay.
I'm wondering how often do we mow, like, let's say for instance the riverfront?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Yes.
Could that be cut back to once every 2 weeks? And that?
No, and even the code yards, and I see Doug here. If you let it go, it's going to take you longer. Mm-hmm. So if you look at time's money, if you let Riverfront go 2 weeks, I'd say you're adding 2.5. You're going from 2 to 2.5, 2.75 days.
Okay.
So
what about a 10-day rotation?
What's that?
What about a 10-day instead of 2 weeks?
10 day.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Depending on how much rain you get.
Yeah, it's all going to be a variable.
It depends on how much rain you get. You know, codes, you could do codes every other week. You know, say you've got 90 yards, do the first 45 one week, second 45, then you start over again. Continue doing that if you really wanted to keep them clean. Plus, in the code yards, you have cleanup. You also, if you keep them down low, you won't run over trash, you won't run over bottles, you won't tear up your equipment. That is the main focus of why you keep it down.
Yeah, the code yards are a concern for me because I know last year there was an issue with getting them to report, sending pictures,
Sure.
do the yards, and to me, I mean, I think $300 a yard was too much, but I actually think $75 a yard is too little, especially when you look at gas and equipment upkeep. I mean, think about this: it's going to take 6-7 weeks before a yard gets high enough to where it gets turned in. So you're going to tell me for $75, which is what, $15 a week, I can make the city come out and mow my lawn for me? I think, I mean,
Well, but-
300 was too much, 75 was too little. I think that it ought to be an enforceable fee of $125, $150 if codes has to mow your yard.
The only problem we had was the reason we lowered that down was because that's a payable fee. And if you raise it too high, then they're just not going to pay it. It gets assessed to the property, and then we don't collect it. Am I right, Diane?
Correct.
I mean, we had hundreds of thousands of dollars, several $100,000 of unpaid.
Over 80,000.
Yeah,
Easily.
so we put it down to where it's an affordable fee to where they pay it.
Yeah, but now with gas being back up close to $4 and
How
I
many
think
people, that makes it, I mean, do you know how many people paid last year with the lower fee?
Some of them did when they closed on a house.
So did you see more people paying with a lower fee than with a higher fee?
Probably so. I would say yes. But a lot of it is done with closings on houses. They'll see it. I make security first a copy of all of them so they have records of them.
and then they have to pay it at that point
I think they do, yeah.
in order to close on the
Mhm.
property.
Yeah.
But I would
Well-
almost, I'd make a motion to raise the fee back up to at least $100 a yard. I mean, that's still down from 300 a yard to help cover some of the expense. And I think when Brad and I talked the other day, unless they were closing on a house, I had a one-on-one with him, hardly any of them get paid by anybody.
Well, so before we make that motion, let's figure out what we're going to do. Is that okay?
Sure.
As far as that goes, then we can make that motion.
Well,
I still
I mean, from what I'm seeing and from what Brad's saying and just punching numbers, we're gonna save $4,000 if we go with the seasonal low bid on having somebody else mow all the codes yards. So we're saving. So that one, we should accept the low bid. and
Are you going to accept it per yard, or are you going to accept the season?
So if we took out the code yards and then you have 6 people down, Brad, what would they do? Would we not hire one of the seasonal help or?
We are not hiring, we've hired one seasonal help mower at the golf course. We usually have 4. So right now with the budget, we won't be hiring anymore. So
But I
these
mean-
people, with this crew, with this team, they'll be basically going wherever we need them.
So if we took a bid from outside source for the code yards, these 2 people doing the code yards, what would they be doing?
They'll be able to go help it the other way. If they did the code yards, it's really going to stretch us thin. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be really tight to help with some of the other areas.
So you don't think we could cut back one of them if we're not doing the code yards?
Cut back labor?
Yeah.
No,
So
we could move them to wherever one of our other areas are at.
Is Rick doing the lake and Rock Creek by himself? And he's getting it done? Barely.
So what you're saying is we're still going to be paying them people the same amount to mow if they're not doing the code yards or are doing the code yards. So therefore, why would we take an outside bid if we're going to be having the same amount out of
That's
our
my
payroll
thought.
each?
Yep.
Okay. If
So-
we did the code yards, we would utilize what we've got.
Right.
If we don't do the code yards, we would put these people at the golf course and maintain the golf course because of lack of seasonal help.
So what are we going to do at the golf course if we have our in-house guys do the code yards?
We may have to look at hiring another seasonal help.
So here's my question. If we say, okay, we'll take the public works and let them do it with your crew. and then it gets out of hand to where we can't do it, do we have that option then to call in the low bidder at the price per mowing? I mean, we say, okay, we're going to go with the city doing it all, and then we say, okay, we're slacking.
I'm gonna say from what I know about the guys that do yard work, if we don't book them now for the year,
They're gonna be booked up.
they're gonna be booked. And so it's gonna be very difficult, or the price is gonna be more later on. Now, we can ask Doug and see what he says. He's one of the ones that's shown up, but that's just been my experience with him.
I mean, no, Doug. I mean, do you want to speak to that, Doug?
Well, it's like this, I mean,
Yeah, it's a,
if I don't take the codes on now, then I'm gonna feel like doing something else. So then when you want me to take over, and just because the city guys are not doing it, then, yeah, I'm gonna have to do away with people or do something. So, it's gonna make it hard on somebody to just stop what they're doing if it's 2 months down the road or whatever.
so you're saying for in the season, as far as, so I'm understanding if we did the season, that's 6 months, and that's no matter what yard they call you for, codes. Yeah, but I'm saying no matter how tall, how whatever. And that's mowed, weed eated. Right, but I'm saying, like, one of the problems we had last year was sometimes they were mowed but not weed eated, and things were.
I'm more just like I do my own yard.
I wasn't talking about you personally, so.
To elaborate on what Josh said, we hire a seasonal help for the wastewater and water treatment every season. He is one of the people on the crew. The other person works at the wastewater plant. We move him to go to this crew to mow. So if we don't do the code yards, then we'd have to look at our staffing. Do we need this person? Do we need that person? But we could fill that void. We still do have full-time openings in our staff.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern is if we bid out, you're saying these guys can go do other stuff. And so my concern is if we're paying them and paying outside source, but if you're saying the golf course does need people.
We need people there. Plus we've got the waterways that the street crew usually takes care of.
And I don't think
Why
they're
would
taking
we
care
take
of it.
them off the Cooper or wherever they're working? I don't think.
We need the street crews straight streets from here on out. So if we can use this extra guy to maintain those waterways and never touch the street crew as far as pulling them in for a project.
If my opinion mounts to anything, I would keep the code yards outsourcing. That's just, but
So
they have to be held accountable.
Do we have budget for seasonal people this year?
That's why we're down. That's why we don't have very many.
Just because we can't find them or we don't have the money.
But you have to also look at business decisions too.
Right.
I mean, can you do more with less?
Can we burn some of these yards off?
Dave Bruner here.
All right, I'm on as far as the code yards go, I'm gonna make a motion that we do what's most economical for the city and go out for the season with the low bidder. And then leave everything else in-house.
You're saying go out for the whole season?
Yeah.
For the 18,000?
Yeah, that's 16 months. Or
No.
6 months of all the codes yards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll spend that much this year because with the tax sales, we're really alleviating a lot of the violations, I believe. There's a tax sale next month. I don't know if there's going to be as many this year.
Okay. Do you want to do the $18 a
I
yard
mean,
then?
that's probably what I ran some numbers. That's what I prefer to do. But I think the tax sale is really going to cut a lot of those code yards down because we had that tax sale in 4 years.
All right.
So.
All right. Then I'll amend that motion to say we go out for the $18 a yard for the codes and then keep everything else in-house.
Yep, I'll second that. The 18 and the 30 for Doug.
Yeah,
Miller,
18 and 30.
So, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Tim Van Hookie,
Thanks, Brad.
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
I do want to say thank you, Brad, for putting this together.
Oh yeah,
because
that was big.
I mean, this is something it's nice having directors go out and be thinking ahead and doing stuff, and I said it was appreciated. So
Now, before we moved on, can I make a motion on
Yes,
the,
go ahead,
raising
Tim.
the, I do think with the cost of gas and everything going up, I mean, we dropped it from $300. I think we ought to, in our expense for having to do it. I mean, I don't want to go crazy and go back to $300, but I would make a motion to raise the current fee from $75 to $100.
I'll second that.
I will tell you that's done by ordinance, so an ordinance will have to be brought before you at the
Okay.
next meeting, if that's okay for you to
Absolutely.
completely review and vote on.
Would you consider 125 with the price of gas?
No.
Yep. Okay.
I like an even C note.
Josh Jones,
and this is to go out for
this
ordinance.
is to raise the,
Yes.
or I guess we can just bring the ordinance back to you. I'm gonna do that.
Yes.
What, yeah.
And you can vote
Yes.
on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, up next, consideration of zero-turn mower bid, Lake Fort Scott and Rock Creek, Brad Mackin.
Need your folder.
Okay, with that, it's been a while since you did this. So Doug brought up needing a zero-turn mower for the lake. I did some research on our equipment for the city of Fort Scott. We do have several mowers
How many?
on our list, a lot, but we need to take a lot off our list because they're either broke down, unrepairable, parts been taken off, whatever. Some of them don't even know where they're at anymore. So I'll update this list, give you some, but we can save some money there. We can take off our insurance.
So we don't have that list, right?
No, I'll get you a copy. If you need.
Okay.
But we also on this list has specialized mowers, your green mowers, fairway mowers, things like that. With the lake, what the lake has done in the past has borrowed from the airport. The airport has a person to mow. That person's going to be extremely busy. Unfortunately, I can't tell you why, but that airport person's going to be mowing a lot by himself. So with that, instead of borrowing a mower from them, we feel this purchase will be needed. So, with transportations, you still have to take it to Rock Creek and back, but I know at the same meeting, you were approached with a zero turn for water treatment. We will not need that one. We will not need that one, especially with our mowing crew.
So
We will not need that.
a minute ago, when the mayor asked you about when was the last time the mower was replaced at the lake, and you'd said 2021, is that?
That was at Gun Park.
It's the airport mower. He just
Okay.
said we do not have a lake mower.
Okay.
A lot of these they don't have departments put on them. We need to get that fixed. We need to designate things for departments.
Well,
Yeah, and this ain't against you or Doug, but it's scary when you say we have mowers, we don't even know where they're at.
Yeah.
But we need another mower, and as a commissioner, that's scary. Yeah. So the airport, the mower out there now, like let's say last year, someone was mowing, how many hours did it take to mow the airport?
When I talked to Seth, the person that's on the zero turn does all around the buildings in the front where you can't get the tractor. It takes him roughly 3 days to mow around all the hangars and close to the runways and things like that.
And then how long is it taking with the tractor to get the rest of it?
Take the rest of the week. Yeah.
So we have one
it's
guy
full-time.
mowing full-time.
Well, you gotta realize he has to get off, fuel, things like that.
So how do we
And
do
of
this
course-
in the past? How do we do this in the past, sharing a mower then?
Hey, you let Doug talk about it.
I think in the past, and I just from being around here, the airport was mowing the lake.
Yes. So in the past, before I took over parks and now sports facilities, but before I did the lake, the airport employees, both of the airport employees and the lake employee, shared responsibility at the lake and at the airport. So they kind of tag teamed, and all three of them worked on both facilities as well as Rock Creek. So back when the change was made to separate the lake into now sports facilities, we took possession of like half of the equipment. And then the airport kept the zero turn for their facility, and then the golf course or La Roche or anywhere we could borrow a mower last year, we borrowed a mower because it was shared with the airport before.
Even though we've split titles or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's still the same.
Well, yeah, that's what I don't understand. I hate to create more expense because now we have two different people leading two different areas when that seems like the only thing that's changed so far. I mean, we're mowing the same amount with the same people, and it's worked for, I know they've been sharing at least since 2008.
Right.
So I don't know
All
what-
I can attest to is what I've been put in charge of. So, I only have one person. I don't have three.
I'm just trying to figure out what's changed in the last 15 years that we can't utilize the same mower now. That's the only thing I'm asking.
So we tried that last year. Just logistically, it didn't always work out. Where we would call and they were mowing, so we borrowed from somewhere else, or it was just a matter of trying to find a mower to mow at the lake or at Rock Creek because
And maybe I'm
everybody else was using it.
oversimplifying, but to me, we know how long it takes to mow each week. So at the beginning of the year, say you'll mow on these days, we'll mow on these days.
We tried that. It doesn't always work out if it rains or if there's events or it's.
Well, I think one of the conversations I had last year with you guys was there wasn't trailers. Rick was needing a trailer. We didn't have a trailer. We was always having to borrow a trailer to get a mower. Wasn't that part of it?
No, we have a trailer. It was always just we had to borrow a mower.
For some reason, I recall him wanting a trailer.
So the trailer that we had was not conducive for a mower, but we've modified it so that the mowers fit on it better.
Right. Well, I kind of agree with Josh that if we have plenty of mowers, like you said, if he finished mowed around the building on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then that mower would be freed up for the lake. I mean, is there a way? Is it possible to stagger that mower?
We could try and work on that. Like I'll tell you, last year it didn't work out well at all to try and share a mower.
Now, Brad,
every time we tried to use it, they were using it. If it was broken down, then we still had to borrow one. We even, used Gun Parks mowers, and we just tried to find a mower because it's not always conducive to work with everybody else's schedule as far as when they're mowing, unless we could say, okay, well, Tuesdays and Thursdays it's yours, and Fridays, Monday, Wednesday, Friday it's ours, and that's just the way it is.
The guy mowing out the airport, what else does he do besides mowing?
He does the fueling of the planes, does just general maintenance, things like that. Plus, he works weekends.
What's the possibilities of finding these mowers that are missing?
I have to do some searching. I mean, I haven't put a ton of time trying to find them. I've asked questions.
Right.
I mean, is there one of these mowers that we can repair and get operable?
A lot of them are pretty much ancient. They're rust buckets. Yeah.
Do you know
we need to take them off our paper.
Do you know when we bought the airport mower?
I think he just said 2021. Wow.
There's there's a 2018 zero turn
for the airport
Grasshopper.
Do you have any idea how many hours are on it right now?
No, I don't. I can get that. I can't get that easily.
Well, and we didn't necessarily budget for the year for a new mower. I mean, I'm happy to look at adding that into next year's budget if we can get through with the system we're using now. I don't want to deny them a piece of equipment they use, but it sounds like we have equipment out there that we're not even sure where it is or what condition it's in.
Well, and that's I go back to years ago, Brad. If you remember, when a lot of people we can't get the backhoe because that's water company's backhoe, and we talk about sharing equipment. So, I mean, that's the struggle.
Can we look at maybe purchasing a used one?
I don't know.
Shaking your head,
Again,
Mr. Purple Wave.
Well, I love used equipment, obviously, but when you're buying it for a city, used lawnmowers, that's pretty tough. I mean, if it was a smoking deal where it was what do they call it, where they demoed it or what have you?
Well, yeah, I mean that did we look through the state program? Did they have any mowers? Was this through the state program?
The pricing that they gave us is the state pricing.
This is here.
Yes, the low bid of 14,000, and that's, you can see that, how the prices jumped significantly after that, and that's because of the state contract pricing.
It's got curb fillers on it.
All that good stuff in there.
Well,
Okay.
the ones that we bid out were commercial grade mowers that come with warranties and things like that. So when you use I know you can go to Home Depot or
Sure.
Lowe's, big box stores, and they have zero turn. It's only $2,000. Well, you get what you pay for. So if you use a residential mower for commercial use, it avoids all the warranties, and if something blows up on it, then you're out of pocket.
Yeah, this would be a nice mower with a welded deck and all that.
Yeah,
we get that.
and it's the specs for it were so that the mower can take the dam. So some of the mowers that the city has, gasoline mowers, we've tried to use the one from LaRoche. It's a smaller deck and it's gas powered. It doesn't take the dam. It won't do the hills. So that's why we, bid out a diesel mower that has more torque and more power, things like that. There's some of the mowers, like Brad was saying, they're specialty mowers. Some of the mowers won't work in that, at the lake. They won't work at Rock Creek because of the terrain. So
Sure, it's not just the dam either. It's at the campgrounds. There's a lot of hairy hills.
And I mean, that's another thing to think about is, when we borrow the airport's mower or we borrow Gun Park's mower, if we break it, then now we're not just down at
Down
the
for two
lake,
places.
we're down at two places. So, and the same thing comes up, when we share mowers at the golf course and at the ball field, it's, when one breaks down, then you can't mow at either place. So having, site-specific mowers sometimes helps with efficiencies, and it helps with parts and labor, and, if it's raining, then everybody's mowing at the same time. So it's a lot of the logistics and things come in.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think everybody here does. There's a lot of mowing companies that don't just leave mowers at every location they own. So that's what we're trying to figure out through the budget how we can do this. Do you guys want to go ahead? Do you want to do this, or do you want to table it and think about it
Where
for?
would the money come from if we did do it?
We figured the lake fund.
Oh, if it's coming from the lake fund.
Well, then
Yeah.
you get two.
That's
Nah.
the only place that there was budget.
Yeah, let's get a couple of them.
And don't look at me. I mean, you're dealing with a whole different.
Well, I mean, I'll say once again, we've made it work, and all of a sudden we split department heads. And,
Yeah.
And now it doesn't work, and we didn't have a budget for it, but now there's this extra money, so let's spend money to do it. And I know it's a pain in the butt, but maybe Kelly can help facilitate, make every director understand that it's not theirs, it's the city's.
Well, we can make it work,
Right.
but
It makes it tough.
you are robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
And when
but you
it
did-
starts raining and you start getting behind, that's when it starts getting tougher. Can we make it work? We can make it work. We can
Well,
make
see,
anything work.
And that's what, because just a little bit ago on the other thing you said, I asked, why don't we have people? Is it the people or not the money? You said, not the money. So if we can make it work and we're short on money, to me, it makes good business sense to make it work.
But being short on money is making us short on people. So.
Right.
It could cause some overtime also if you run into that.
Well, I understand that,
If you
but
run
like
into
I said,
that.
they've been doing it for at least 14 years out there. Because in 2008, when we had the trash service out there, the guy would be mowing both. So I know they've been doing it for at least 14 years. And now within 1 year of 2 different directors, it's hard to work. And I know it's tough.
Well, Doug, how quickly? I mean, fortunately, it's not like new cars right now. There's not a whole lot of problem getting a hold of lawnmowers. So if we decided, let's say we wanted to table this for 60 days, you work with Kelly, see what kind of, and Brad, see what kind of schedule can be worked out, and you come back and you say, you know what, guys, it's just not going to work. It's too much overtime. It's not cost effective. After working with him, then I would be able to, step up and support and say, yeah, we need to do the right thing. But to me, it sounds like, we don't really have an accurate accounting for where all the current equipment is, or work through it with the city manager. I mean, beyond that, I don't want anybody having to do any more than usual, but I'd like to at least rest assured that we've looked at every potential avenue, as Josh was saying, to do it effectively.
Yeah, so it sounds like the general consensus is to table this for a little bit. Kelly, get with them and see if we can find the rest of them.
And let us know what your projected cost for overtime is gonna be, and see if we can locate some of that extra equipment.
Sure. No, that's fair.
I appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
I mean, if it won't work, I'll make the motion to approve it.
So I'm just gonna put this out there that the bids that we got before were like 30-day bids.
Yeah.
So if we wait 60 days or 30 days or 90 days, we'll have to rebid. Just because the price of equipment and the price of everything is gonna go up in the next 30 days. So
I think
Maybe.
I
I
think we
think-
know.
it could come down. It's hard to tell.
Your bid says 90 days, Doug.
90 days. Okay.
90
I'm
days.
just saying it
From
depending
the
on
date of the bid opening, which was March 11th.
So we need to make a motion to table this since there was open bids out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to table this.
A second.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
And I know before we move on,
Go
'cause
ahead,
I know
Josh.
Doug, did you have one other thing that you had that wasn't on the agenda? I saw an email that way. I didn't see nothing else for you, so I didn't want you waiting around all evening.
Okay. So
If that's fine, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll grant that. Go ahead.
it was a question I had asked Kelly, and he told me to come before you guys to ask you because it's fee related. So with an idea that Dustin Fowler, one of my employees at the golf course, had, and he asked me for help on it. So the idea was to start a junior golf league, kind of like Little League for baseball, but for golf. So in researching it and getting ideas and what he had, and I've had experience with junior leagues, we reached out to Brad Demo, who's on the golf advisory board, got his thoughts on it, and he got us in touch with the PGA Junior League. So he used his credentials as a PGA professional and has set up Dustin and myself as coaches through the PGA to start this PGA Junior League at the golf course. So what it'll end up happening is residents, children, we set the age limits from 6 to 13 or 15. And we're going to try and run the league from June 1st through September. And so what will happen now is it's online. You can go on PGAJuniorLeague.com. I'll get you guys the link if you want. Kids can sign up for the Junior League. It costs $99 to the PGA, and then they are on the hook to pay the golf course whatever fee to cover golf and coaching fees. Dustin and myself have waived our coaching fees so that we can make this as affordable as possible. And Brad Demo has some connections with different foundations and things, Betterment Life Through Golf, things like that, to help with any other costs involved with it. But the golf course has no set league fee or junior fee. So we need to know what to charge kids for this league. And my thought was to kind of charge them the same as we're doing for the high schools and for the community college to use the golf course, as since it's kind of like a team is the way the junior league works. Is we have a team, we train them, we teach them, and then eventually, which I have feelers out and I've been contacting other golf courses, is that other local golf courses would start the same programs, and then our team at Woodland Hills would play like Nevada's team, and we would have matches between these other golf courses, which would then now promote golf amongst the entire county into Crawford County. All the other golf courses would participate in this as well.
So, Doug, my question would be like, how many days a week would the
So
league be,
the
and
plan
at what
right now
times?
is it's going to be June 1st through the end of September. We'll probably have like 1 day a week league, maybe one match a month.
Is that mostly on like weekdays?
Yeah, we would probably pick we already have a Monday night league. It's the Red and White League. It's pretty busy. Thursday night is men's league. I'm working on another league that may play on another day, but this junior league we would pick like a Tuesday or a Thursday, as long as it doesn't interfere with school. So the June 1st through September was trying to keep it in the summertime where kids can have it accessible. We'll probably do it in the evenings. Times haven't really been set yet, but
Yeah, I was just trying to kind of make sure that like weekends and other stuff, I know we have tournaments scheduled
Right,
out there,
so
but for people that have memberships or people that want to play, that there's still public access to the
Yes,
court.
definitely. We'll try and keep it, like Tuesdays are pretty slow. We'll
Okay.
try and keep it on a Tuesday in the afternoon, kind of play with the same times as, the other, like the JUCO plays or the high school teams are playing, so that it's not interfering with our daily feed.
So I have two questions. One, what would be the age on this junior league? Do you have an idea?
The
on
junior league, the ages are set. They have two qualifications. It's the PGA sets the age bracket into two. It's from 4 to 13 and 13 and over. But our league is going to be from 6 to 15. And so we'll probably you break the kids out into their age brackets, and they compete with as a team. It's a 2-person scramble, and then they play match play for 3 holes.
If the kids are part of the league, do they have the opportunity to come out and play the course at other times for a discounted rate, or is that?
We do not have a discounted rate for youth, and that is something that it would totally be your call to make. I've done it at other courses and it works out well. And the whole idea is to get our future clientele. We're going to teach these kids to play golf, and then they're going to join the high school teams, and then they'll eventually be our patrons.
What about clubs, like if they don't have clubs?
So part of the PGA Foundation is financial. If kids don't have clubs, there are scholarships and things that we can promote and have the kids apply for, so that the part of the foundation that Brad Demo has would pay for clubs. It would pay for any other fees that shoes and anything that these kids would need. We're trying to look for sponsors. We're looking for that financial help, so that it's not.
That's what I was wondering. Just because there's going to be kids that don't have the opportunity
Right.
to own their own
And
club.
there are scholarships through the PGA that would the kids would have to go online themselves and apply. We can give them direction, tell them where to go, and like I said, Brad Demo, he's helping us out a whole lot with the financial
great.
aspects. And
That's great. I don't see any negative about this.
So what fee you were saying?
So
what
we
use the high school?
Right. So the high school currently pays $1,200 a year. They have 2 teams. They have the spring is the boys team, in the fall the girls team plays. This kind of in the. I was just thinking that $1,200 is an easy fee. It's a team. It's where we coaches. It's kind of relatively the same kind of concept. So just to have the fee, so now we can take the fee that you guys set, and I can go to Brad Demo and the foundation and ask them to subsidize it.
No, I think it's great.
And the whole idea is to have it subsidized, so the kids in the community, they can try golf, they can play golf, and it's not exorbitantly expensive.
Right. Sure.
Because
I think our nacho sales will be through the roof too.
and chili cheese dogs.
That's what I'm saying. We might look into cotton candy and snow cones if the kids are going to be out there.
We have an ice cream option we're looking at.
And
I would like to see with this though, that if the kids are part of the league, that we can give them a discounted rate to come out there and play.
So something I've done at other courses, and it's not here, so just keep that in mind, that kids 12 and under played free with paying adult.
It is about time though our golf course finally got nachos out there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
This is a big step.
It is.
Putt golf's coming next.
Yeah, I mean, I would make the motion to whatever you need to let us happen and set the rate at $1,200 for the season, running from June 1st to end of September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will ask that. So the high school teams play all year, and as part of that $1,200, the kids kind of can come out as they feel throughout the year. Would we extend the kids that join this league the same courtesy?
We allow the what now? Explain that.
So like the high school team. So say someone's on the boys high school team and they play in the spring, but if they show up in the fall, they still play as part of the agreement.
I would say if they're part of the league with a paying adult. Is that?
Yeah,
we can do that.
I don't think the high school or the college have ever the contract has came to the commission, so I'm not sure what.
So the college has sent theirs in. They did it, I think it was yesterday.
Right.
Yesterday or the day before. They submitted it signed. So they were okay with the new fees.
Right. So I mean, I would be willing to say if they're a part of the league, that they can golf any time of the year with a paying adult for free. Does everyone?
Yeah, I mean, my only problem is I'd like to get that. I don't know if we can expand on that, if we want to look at doing anybody 12 and under, like you said, or what. I don't know. I hate to make a decision and say, hey.
No, and I'm fine.
And so I don't know. I mean, what would your recommendation on that be?
So I would ask, I've done, like I said, I've done it at other courses where, kids 12 and under play free with a paying adult. And we do it like per adult. So you can't bring 10 kids out with one adult and 10 kids are playing free. It's one adult per kid.
So I know, Tim, I mean, you golf out there quite a bit. Is that something that you think would benefit?
I think it would benefit. The only concern is to Doug's point, the number of kids. I mean, we have a large enough problem out there already with the big kids having 7, 8 carts and 10 people in one group in front of you. And then now you if you do put a bunch of young golfers out there, which I encourage, I think it's important, number one, that they have the adult with them, and number two, that they be a member of this league.
You bet. So with that being said, it's right now there's only 2 coaches. So if we open this up where, hey, you can only play free golf if you're in a member of the junior league. Now this league may grow so big that we can't accommodate all the kids based on, because you have to have a coach to child ratio. It's kind of like the pool. You have to have so many lifeguards.
Well, that he was talking about outside of the league if they want to play with a
right. That I think that's what he was saying.
But you're thinking because of that thing, people are going to sign up for the league.
Right, just to be able to bring their kids out to play golf.
Well, and we might have to cap the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you might just have to cap it, whatever the number is. But on my motion, I'll amend that to if they're in that league and they come out with a paying adult and they're 12 and under, or I don't know, because the league's for 15 and under.
Yeah, the league goes up to age 15. Yes.
But are you good with the 12 and under?
Yes.
Okay.
I would be happy with the 12 and under.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
1 out of 2. That ain't bad.
I just want to say thank you for.
Yes.
Yes.
And Dustin as well.
Yeah, this was Dustin's brainchild. It was his idea, and I just helped him because I've done it before. So
We'll tell him next time he has to come speak.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, you've run this past the golf course advisory board.
Well, Brad, we did talk to the golf advisory board about it. It was 2 meetings ago, and they were perfectly fine with it. They were happy that we were starting this new league, and they told Brad, Demo, and myself and Dustin that we had carte blanche to just get it going. So.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Consideration of Cooper Street concrete bids. Kelly?
We got bids in from O'Brien Ready Mix and Hammerson Ready Mix for the 4,000 PSI KDOT mix. Hammerson came in on our estimated amount of 2,290 yards for North and South Cooper at $100 per yard, and Hammerson's came in at $110 per yard.
I would motion that we accept the low bid of O'Brien's for $100 per yard.
Second.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. Consideration of appointment to the street.
Hold on a second, Skitch. We need to go ahead and vote on the metal for Cooper Street. The guys checked at Judy's, and Judy's supplier couldn't, they felt like they were kind of stringing them on, so we were able to locate the wire from Cooper Waters, and we were able to get it a little cheaper than Jerry had estimated. The estimate
Carter
for this, oh yeah, what did I say?
Cooper
Carter?
Waters. Everything's Cooper.
Oh, Carter Waters, sorry.
Yeah, it's up there in the city.
Yeah, Cooper Street. Okay, but anyway, the estimate that Jerry put together was on the back for the 6-gauge wire and the rebar. But anyway, since it's a $52,000 purchase, I'll need an approval for us to be able to go ahead and pay that.
Do you have another copy of that?
Yep, sure. Right here's yours.
Thank you.
So that's about $20,000 cheaper than what Jerry was thinking we'd get it from Judy's for.
Yeah. Well, he just kind of threw it together, but it's nice
Right.
to save money too.
I'll motion that we accept the bid to purchase the wire mesh and the rebar from Carter Waters for $52,762.50.
Second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes. Consideration of appointment to the Street Advisory Board.
I think we only had one
Only one.
letter of interest.
And who was it, Diane?
Steve Mason
Steve?
to replace Randy Bulkin, his term.
I'll make the motion to accept Steve Mason to the Street Advisory Board.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
All right, consideration to pay Sketches Hauling and Excavation 2610 March porta potties. Everything good on that, Kelly?
Things have gone well, yes. The truck's running good and they're getting us taken care of, so.
Entertain a motion.
Have they cleaned out the porta potty down there at the water station where the guys are working down there?
You talked about it at the intake.
Yeah. Some claimed it
I
out.
think someone had fun with that one.
Oh, did they?
They
I know the guys, when they call them, they've been able to
Okay.
get on.
Yeah.
So. He'd had some trouble with his
you see what
truck.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty nasty.
I think some
Was it?
vandals got to
Oh,
that
okay.
one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they've cleaned that up, then I'm going to motion that we pay Sketches Hauling and Excavating porta potties.
Second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Okay, consideration of Earl's Engineering and Inspection boundary survey for 6 additional lake lots.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I think we put this together a little while back. The total price to lay out those 6 lots and that we discussed previously, $5,764. A little typo there. So yeah, the number is $5,760. Do you guys have that with you?
Yeah.
Yes, in our packet.
If there's any questions on the scope?
What was the price again? 5,700?
Yeah.
Yes.
57.
640.
And that's for all the lots, Jason?
6 of them.
Additional lots.
Somebody put an extra zero there, 5764.
57.
Yeah, the
Decimal's
4
in the wrong
is
place.
extraneous typo.
Time frame on surveying these?
So from
No, that's
executed the contract, 4 weeks to get started, just to get scheduled, and I would anticipate, within, I think total of 60 days for delivery is in there, so.
Motion?
I'll motion that we accept that, get those lots surveyed.
Second.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
And I would ask maybe next meeting, since we know we're about 2 months out, if we can discuss possibly how we'll sell them and where the money will go to. Everyone's get that next meeting or two, put it on the agenda.
Up next, Police Department wages, Brad Mackin.
We need to just get you a seat at the table as many times as you've been up there tonight.
Good. Thank you.
I don't know about that.
Exercise. So in your packet, there's a graph with public safety wage comparisons. There was also, I missed the other page for the City of Fort Scott Police Department wages. I come to you this evening to talk to you about their wages and to show you that we have a downfall with what we pay our police department versus some of the other towns around us with similar sizes. With the graph, we looked at Montgomery County Sheriff, Independence Police Department, Parsons Police Department, Coffeyville Police Department, Iowa Police Department, then Fort Scott. As you can tell, the downfall of the wages, but some of the closer things to look at is how hard it is to recruit because of our starting wage. So when you look at the wages, you can't just look at the first wage. You've got to look at all the wages, because if you increase the first wage, it's a trickle effect where you have to increase all the wages. So what our proposal is tonight is to increase wages by the chart that I gave you. I don't know how in depth you want me to go. Well, we feel it's very important because over the last 6 months, we've been very fortunate. And I say fortunate because of what's going on around us. We've been able to hire around 30 people for the City of Fort Scott. Unfortunately, only one of them has been a police officer. And you know, it's getting tougher and tougher to hire police officers, but with wages the way we are versus some of the other agencies in the area, recruiting them is very, very hard. So that is why I'm coming to you to ask for these increases. And I know there's questions, so I'm open for questions.
So how much of an increase would we look to the bottom line of the whole budget by doing these wage increases across the board?
It's 27,000 plus KPNF, so right around 35,000.
About 33,500.
For the whole year for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be an entire year. So you're whatever it is for 3/4 of the year.
And where would the money come from? Is
We
it in
probably have to amend the budget.
from general fund?
General, yeah.
Was there any areas at all in the police department that they could cut from to help offset that?
I don't know. I looked at it before and it looks pretty thin. That's why we took our vehicles out of the equipment capital outlay, yeah.
With the guidance of Chief Shelton, we are looking at moving some of the people around internally to help until we can find people. You know, it's going to have to be one of those old-fashioned just go and find them. You know, they're not coming to you. You're going to have to go and recruit. And with the higher starting wage, that'll help a bunch.
How many openings do we have over there now?
3, Travis? 3 or 4? 3 right now.
What is
As
our,
of today, 3.
and I know it's not on the pay scale, but what is our, only reason I know this because I've done some research on SRO. What does it top out at? Our SRO officer?
Tops out around 25.
Because I'm
Per
not-
ordinance.
Yeah, I'm not.
Per ordinance.
I don't want to pick anything, but I know our SO officer, Travis, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's pretty high on the scale compared to others. Am I wrong on that?
That person has been on staff for 18 years.
And when you did the comparisons, Montgomery County, Indy, and all that, are they all on KPNF? Or are they on Capers?
I have that answer. Montgomery County, we didn't look at that, but Independence is Capers. Parsons is KPNF, Coffeyville is KPNF, and Iowa is KPNF. And then we're KPNF, of course. Just to let you know that ordinance SRO is $22.50, $22.50.
So are you asking for us to accept this tonight?
Sure would be nice, yes. So we can get
You guys want what you're thinking?
So that the 35,000 all in that you're talking about, would that include if we had the 3 additional officers as well, or would that go up? Is this just based on what we currently have now?
based on what we have now, yes.
Okay, so then if we hire 3 more people, then that number's gonna be higher than 35,000.
It'll actually fit into what you have allowed in your budget, because you have a certain amount of officers
Right.
into your budget.
So we might not have to amend the budget because we might be
Yeah,
down
you might have that money,
or
plus if you hire, you're lowering overtime. And
Yeah.
that,
Right.
and that is the key of all this,
I
is
just want
lowering
to
overtime.
double check with Travis. There's 16 people on here. Are you saying full staff's 19?
Full staff is 21.
21.
What are we running overtime now?
What are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could get you the percentage. It's not.
It's a lot.
It's not real good. Between this and dispatch, pretty bad. But we are staffed up. After next week, we'll be staffed up in dispatch. We were fortunate enough to hire some more.
Well, I would agree that getting the right people and cutting back on the overtime will save money in the long run. And to Josh's point, that money's probably already there in the budget already. But what's blowing it out is the amount of overtime that they're having to work at this time. So I would make a motion, because I mean, I got an opportunity to do a ride along with the police officers and Travis's crew. And, you know, these guys earn every penny they get. So I would make a motion to approve this recommended increase for the police department.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Sure.
And all this money comes out of the general fund. We don't have an emergency service tax like every other town around us.
We have a mill levy that goes towards, that creates about 90,000 a year, correct me if I'm wrong, and it alternates between the fire department and the police department, and that's usually for equipment. Is that right, Travis?
Yeah, but that's not what Matt talked about.
Yeah.
He talked about the public safety sales tax.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have anything like that. We just pulled straight out of the general fund.
Well, we have, I mean, not the sales tax, but we have a public safety that on the property tax that they allow us to do. We can go up to 2 mills on public safety, and we do utilize that on property tax.
We do?
Up to the full, I think that's the full amount.
Okay. And we're at the full amount?
I think so. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that, so I don't know if we are or not.
Is that something you could look into, Kelly, and let us know? Okay.
But I know 2 mills goes to the public safety, they alternate.
I just know, like Travis was saying, all the other towns around us, they have an actual sales tax that's for public safety. We don't have anything like that around here.
Yeah, it's because we already raised everybody's water bill and stuff,
Yep.
so we decided not to do it.
Public safety.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, I'll second your motion, Tim.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
I want to thank you all. Very, very important. Can't
Yeah, and thank you
express
and
that.
Travis, and the
Yep.
same with the fire department. I think we've done good with the dispatch, the fire department, and now the police department, so hopefully this helps you guys out.
And these guys can take a vacation this summer now, get some more people.
Right. Enjoy some time off.
Okay. Up next, yeah, thank you guys. Up next is going to be consideration of court order to sell seized property. We have Travis here and a detective or something like that, I believe.
Yes, I've got Detective Sergeant Brian Thurston, and then our Assistant County Attorney Brandon Cameron is here also. He really worked a lot on this case also. But I'll give you a little background. So in July of 2019, we were involved in a criminal investigation that then moved out out on Poplar Road. We ended up through that criminal investigation, we ended up filing forfeiture paperwork for the property out there. It's 152 acres. And so we submitted our paperwork to the county attorney, and they worked on the civil side. They've come up with an agreement to split to sell the property and split the proceeds between them and the police department in for that forfeiture. What we're asking, so when we also have to split costs with them. It has to be auctioned off, and we split the cost with the auctioneer. Other costs splitting as well, and what they charge as well. There's some other property out at this piece of land that I believe is going to be auctioned off as well, but we won't have any. That'll be theirs. That's not ours. But what I'm asking the commission to do is approve the mayor to sign a contract. I don't have a contract yet. It's just a real estate contract with for Lance Anderson to be able to auction off this place. The other party has shopped around with auctioneers. They've gotten back with Brian, and they want to hire Lance, which is fine with us. We've had Lance do these kind of things for us on vehicles in the past, and I think it's just a standard auction real estate contract. Do you have anything to add to that?
And as I understand, that's possibly part of the agreement that the landowner at that time can help pick the auctioneer.
Yes, that they want that part of that agreement. Yeah, we have to agree upon an auctioneer. If we don't agree upon an auctioneer, then it goes to court and a judge has to decide. And I'm fine with
Right. Well, the reason I say that is because before just being the city, we would go to bid and so on and so forth.
Yes, correct, and that's a good point. So, Brandon, do you have anything to add to some of that, or do you all have any questions on? I've kind of give you a Reader's Digest version of the events that's kind of taken place over the last 3 years, but any questions?
I think it pretty much spelled it out in the paperwork we got. So, I mean, I don't know if there's. It's probably kind of a touchy subject to be discussion.
Right, and I think that's all I'm needing to ask is a vote to allow the mayor to be able to sign and move forward with the contract with the auctioneer, and then that way things can get moving with advertising and that kind of thing.
Sure.
So,
Any questions? Conversation? Motion? Anybody like to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the mayor signing the document to move forward with, it was Lance Anderson's auctioneering.
Yes, sir.
For the sale of the mentioned property in the document here.
Second.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Matthew Wells.
Yes.
Tim Van Hickey.
Yes.
Shane Walker.
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out, Detective.
He was going to be following me anyway.
You're really nervous when I see a lot of cops here. Consideration of special street maintenance program by Matthew Wells.
So everybody should have gotten a copy of this last week, had an opportunity to go over it. I just wanted to read two sections from our comprehensive plan from 2018. The first one would be section 6.2, vision. It says that the city will identify the best and most cost-effective methods of addressing the current shortcomings in its aging street network in order to produce safe, well-maintained streets and sidewalks. Second section I'd like to read is from 6.4. It says we need to conduct an inventory of the existing streets in Fort Scott since the last one was done back in 2007. So we've done that with this plan. We've identified the surface materials. We've done that with this plan. We've rated the conditions of the streets and the materials. Again, we've accomplished that with this plan.
We've analyzed the inventory and prioritized the replacement or upgrades relative to connectivity to other streets in the hierarchy classifications using residential, collector, and arterial, and the funding options available. This plan right here will address that. We've analyzed the inventory. We've tried to prioritize our arterial roads for the first couple of years, then our collector roads, so then we can get on to the residential roads. I would like to point out, this is a 10-year comprehensive plan that the commission will have to readdress biannually and annually to verify the roads are getting done and make changes as we see fit. So this completes all of those goals and strategies, including the next goal, which is to develop a plan to substantially improve the local roads, emphasizing getting the most done with the funds available. And that's one of the greatest things about the plan that you have before you, is that it utilizes the funds that we have available to maximize the amount of work that we can get done on the roadways that we have. So I would like to put forth a motion to accept this plan and to move forward with the street maintenance.
Well, I'll second it, but beforehand, I just want to say, Matthew, and Kelly, you sign off on this. This is, you would put your stamp on this. This is city manager. This is the best street plan we could do.
Yeah, this is what we plan on doing, and we want to let the city know that we stand behind what we're saying.
Because I appreciate that, during the previous meeting where we discussed this, we had some concerns, and there were some statements in there that were a little open-ended and vague, and where those items are, you've spelled out in here and said that, like on the truck routes, as the city discussed, like on what we talked about doing with 54 Highway, where all those businesses are, that we do an impact study on it, and we define that.
Yes, sir.
So I think you did a great job. I know a lot of us gave you some feedback, and we appreciate you sending that over to us. So I'll second the motion for approval.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I haven't had a chance to look it over real well, but just kidding. I may have been dared to say that, Matt. But the other thing, one thing I would like to say in there is one question I had was, and I didn't mention this earlier, but on Margrave, East National, Jayhawk, that's in the plan. I didn't know that was. I didn't consider that a bad street.
Well, we're changing it to brick.
Then it will be a bad street.
So what we're trying to accomplish right now with this is the 2022 plan.
Right, I understand that.
Okay, so what we're addressing right now is all the arterial roads.
Right.
Correct. So that one is one that's labeled right now as an arterial road. So we want to get all those covered and cape sealed this year so that we can extend the
So you're
life
not
of those.
necessarily saying it's a bad road. You're saying
No.
it just needs to be protected.
No, yes. In fact, there are some other areas of Margrave that are going to get cape sealed throughout this process, because that's what we're doing on this first round, is we're hitting all of the roads that have the most travel.
Right.
And then what we're going to look at next is the designations for hopefully 2023 and 2024. We're going to start hitting the collector roads. Now, we do need to make a modification to some roads, but that's something we'll have to get Jason to do with KDOT as far as Wall to Charles, changing that to an arterial Wall to 6, but we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct.
Well, I think your biggest concern is trying to keep roads that maybe aren't as horrible yet as the other ones from getting in that.
Sure.
Right. Yes, sir.
Because they're major traffic ways, we wanted to be able to turn our back on them to do these other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's a 10-year comprehensive plan so that we can right now maintain the main arterial roads so that here in a few years we can have the opportunity to start working on the residential streets that right now we don't have the opportunity to work on because we're too far behind on everything else that
Sure.
we need to get done. So this lays out a plan that gets us to where we can in a few years start working on people's residential roads.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that we won't pothole them and maintain them.
Right.
But
Yes, sir.
to get them up to a place where we can cape seal them is going to take a little bit more, but we're going to keep maintaining
Sure.
them. But
And by approving this will help Matt's attitude too. He'll simmer down just a little bit.
Tim
Diane?
Van Hookey,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
Kelly and Matthew, thank you. Great job.
Oh, he's not done.
Yeah.
He's got another one.
Well, he's got another one, but I mean, on this portion of it, at least, it's nice.
Consideration of special street maintenance program, Matthew Wells.
Yes, so what you'll see laid before you is the proposed roads for 22, 23, and 2024. Like I said, down at the bottom, we will need to make a change on the designations to Wall to Charles, arterial, on Margrave, Wall to 6, residential, and on 6th Street, Broadway to Margrave, arterial. That's something, Jason, you should be able to help us with? Yes. So what I'm asking you to do, and keep in mind, like I said before, this is something we'll address biannually and annually going back over these roads. So if there's something that pops up in the meantime that needs to take priority, we can put it into this list. But this right now gives us a straightforward pathway for the next 3 years on which roads we're going to take care of first.
You're not necessarily saying what we're going to do to these roads, like Margrave, Walter Richards Road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's concrete. You're not going to go chip seal over it. Or,
No.
we're just designating roads. That we
Right.
know, okay.
These are the designated roads, yes, to be maintained in this first cycle.
Motion to approve?
I would like-
Discussion?
Yeah, I would like to motion that we accept these.
Is there a second?
I'm still looking.
While we're looking, I don't want to. Have we had any movement with the state on Wall Street?
We meet tomorrow morning at the ammunition plant.
Good.
Yeah, in the parking lot. I think I sent out an invite if you guys want to come. I think it's at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
If there's a majority present, they can't
Oh,
all be
don't-
there. No.
And just decide who's going to come.
Yeah,
But
two.
yeah,
I'd like to go as well if we,
okay,
especially if it's raining.
okay.
If it's not raining, I may send the president.
Okay.
Is there a second to approve this?
I'll second it.
Oh, you want to read the?
No, it said it's raining.
It's raining. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I thought maybe you got lost, Diane. Go ahead.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Josh Jones.
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
I want to thank you guys very much. Tonight, we
Well,
accomplished
thank you.
something that this city commission has not done in over 20 years that I know of. We've laid out a street plan on getting things fixed for the citizens, and I want you to know there's a lot of people that are going to be very happy tonight, so thank you all.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yep. There's been a lot of things we've accomplished in the last, couple of years. So I'm pretty proud of all that as well. Not just since Shane's got here. Reconsideration of demolition bid award for 619 South Ransom Street.
Before we start on that, I kind of wanted to have Dave Saker come up. We've done some work on the 324 north or south wall and
I think it's 323 South Hill.
hill.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. We're losing our committee. But when Skitch gets back, he had a couple of things that he wanted to see happen on that. David, did you want to come up?
Yeah, I met with the city manager yesterday.
Yes.
And we talked about moving all that concrete out and cleaning it on up there some more. So we went out with a hoe. We dug it all up. The only things left is the retaining wall and the big, thick wall to keep the dirt from falling to the north.
Well, now when I came back and you were gone, there was 2 or 3 piles of trash there down there in the bottom that I think some of them felt like should be removed. David, I think you just pushed it up. can you get that removed in that tree stump?
We got everything down below moved. The slab of concrete.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
covered.
this has got a garden hose in it and a tire and some trash
I didn't see
down there.
garden hose, but if there's one there, I'll go back and pick it up, but I didn't see
And then
garden.
there's a sawed off tree trunk and those, if you'll, commit to the commission that you'll get that cleaned up, I would say it's approvable to go ahead and move on and pay. Is that okay, Mr. Mayor?
I abstain from all this, but you might read. Tim wasn't in here, so.
Tim, we're talking about 323 South Hill demolition.
Yeah.
When David got done, there was still a sawed-off tree trunk down there, stump, and some trash. He's pulled the concrete slabs out, and I'd sent you pictures of that and gotten rid of the concrete down there on the bottom. But there was 3 or 4 trash piles that kind of need to be picked up, garden hose and old tire and things like that. And my question to the commission is if he goes ahead and commits to cleaning that up, if that would be approvable with you to go ahead and move on. Now, we're going to have to pull that wall out because it is dangerous, but he doesn't have the equipment for that.
And what's your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation is if he'll clean that up, to go ahead and pay him and then re-solicit for somebody to pull that wall out.
Okay. And before payment, we'll verify that all.
Yeah, he's not going to get the check until he moves that trash.
Okay. Was there a motion made?
Not yet.
And there was also like just one small pile of rocks and some concrete block right there too.
Yes.
That's probably with those other.
Right there in that,
Yes,
pushed
sir.
up there in that tree pile.
Yeah, that was the only one that I saw. So yeah, yeah. If he'll clean those up, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly, it's on you and the codes team to make sure that, the work is done.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll make a motion to pay it. I mean, pending your approval that the job is completely done based on what you proposed here this evening.
Yeah, free of trash and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, provided that gets cleaned up and you guys put eyes on it. Yes, I'll second that.
Tim Van Hooky?
Yes.
Josh Jones?
I'll pass.
Shane Walker?
Yes.
Matthew Wells?
Yes.
Josh Jones?
Yes.
Kevin Allen?
Abstain.
Okay, now back to number 13, Mr. Mayor. As you'd asked, I placed that in the packet tonight on the agenda. It's up to the commission now as a responsibility to the residents of Fort Scott whether or not you consider David Saker a competent bidder. And I asked him to come speak to you about the project, why it's kind of run sideways, what his thoughts are, and how he feels like he's still a competent bidder. Dave, come on up. Yep. I want you to go ahead and talk to the commission about how you feel like you can still do demolition for them and do a good job, because that's going to be on you. I mean, this thing kind of ran sideways, and so you might want to kind of talk to them a little bit about how you feel like you can still be competent in doing demolition for the city.
I think we still can do business. This here just went sideways. I mean, there's too many people telling you one thing, and there's just a miscommunication in there. But I don't think it ever happened again. This is just a messed up deal. And if you guys still want me to do demolition, I'll still do them. But there will never be another deal like this again. We'll double check before we do anything.
And you feel confident on the 619 ransom for the amount bid at 800, you can do the job?
The one thing I might say, David, is because of this job, we've changed the contract. So you'll want to make sure that you read that over, you and Julie read it over, so you know that when you get a basement cavity like this, it's going to go different. So, okay.
A question on the 619 ransom. I mean, I understand there may have been some personal issues or something, but that has been awarded for some time now. What's the?
We were waiting on the contract to get revised before we actually had them sign it.
My mistake. I thought it had already been awarded.
It was awarded, but we hadn't got them to sign it because of the revisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the question then?
Well, basically, if you feel comfortable with him to be considered and with that award, we'd continue and take a motion to go ahead and extend a contract to him.
Well, I would hate to lose any local bidder. I think it's important that we get as many bids as we can on a job. I also think that partially was the work that they had done, as well as we needed on our end to actually clarify what the contract said as far as concrete and footings and everything else in there. So hey, life is about second chances and stuff. So I don't have an issue with maintaining you as a competent bidder on the contract for this, but I mean, I'm sure you're aware that once something like this happens, all eyes are on you. And you gave us your assurance this evening that nothing like this would ever happen again, and I take a man at his word. So I would make a motion to keep him as an approved competent contractor now for demolition. Don't think I'm getting a second.
There's a second?
I mean, I believe we should give him one more chance.
Yeah.
That being said, this next one, let's make it perfect so that nobody can say anything at all about it. Because like Tim said, there's going to be a lot of people that go over there and drive by and check it out. It's not going to be us. It's going to be a lot of people in town checking it out. So, all right, I'll second that.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Tim Van Hookey,
Yes.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Abstain. Up next, city manager comments.
Dave, I'll get a hold of you tomorrow and we'll go out and walk through that so you can get her cleaned up and get you paid. All right, thank you, David.
All right, thank you.
Oh, one other thing, do we need a vote for that, to get that wall removed while we're still on demolition? I mean, to go out to solicit it?
You mentioned you were going to. Are you
Okay,
going to
well-
draw something up that they can look at first or not?
Yeah, I think we
You
need
can
to.
bring that back
Okay.
to the next meeting.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'd like to see it first.
Yeah, because yeah, all right, okay. Okay. Oh, there is, in your packet is a new lake sewer connection application that we're gonna be using out at the lake as people get on there for utilities. We do have one applicant that is gonna be getting on there and so it's under the city manager portion of your packet. That'll have to be approved by the commission before we can start issuing it. But it kind of lays out things being done right, as Matthew and I've kind of tried to make sure that through some of our efforts and developing methods and means for people to follow in the steps and guidelines and it also lines out that they can't just tap into our services anymore, and that they have to wait for us to even do the tap, and how the backfill will be done per the city's design, and inspections will be done by the city. So we're trying to tighten up our belt a little bit and start doing some things right.
Was this the same? I mean, when this was originally put in, there was a contract signed. Is this pretty similar?
It's very similar. It's just kind of a revision of all that.
The same fees? Was it $2,000, Kevin, originally?
Originally that was all included, I believe. It was I mean, it's changed. You had a chance to make payments. It was $6,000, and you could pay it all up front, or you could pay it in payments over so many years, and so on and so forth. But the $2,000 is something that's just popped up here lately. Was the right, Diane?
Wasn't that in your lake sewer agreement that you approved?
Right,
So
but
I
I'm
think
saying
this
that
is
just now.
Yeah, I mean, when Susan was here, that
Right.
was in that agreement. But
Yeah, that's what.
It's been worked on by your staff for over a year.
Right.
Because we didn't have anything to do with installing the sewer.
Right.
So the county was in charge of that. And they hadn't really come up with this. And so we worked and kind of massaged it, and this is what we came up with.
Yeah, because I fought against it. I didn't want to charge $2,000 for the pleasure of hooking up to it because they're going to have such an expense as it is. It's going to be $15,000. Could be possibly in the rock and stuff to get that thing hooked up anyway. Now we get a $2,000 fee on top of it. I think it's ridiculous, but that's what it came up with.
Yeah, the guy that wants to go ahead and tie in he thinks this is pretty reasonable. So
do we need a motion to accept this?
Yes.
All right, I'll motion we accept this.
I'll second.
Josh Jones,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Jim Van Hooking,
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.
okay. The farmers market approached me and wanted to know if the city would provide for them a couple of porta potties through the summer and for the activities that kind of go on over there around the Scubitz Plaza area.
You think we need it? I mean, I know they've got when will the public bathrooms there on Main Street be opening up? It's only a block and a half walk.
Or could we send them down? Could we possibly send them down to the chamber? I mean, that's only like 150 yards
Well, and then the Fort Scott bathrooms right there
as well.
Because
the porta potties, if we set them up for the summer, we're talking about we're not going to set them up for Saturday and then take them away. So they're going to sit there all week, right out in front of the National Historic Site. So I would prefer suggesting that we ask them to use the chambers restrooms, the restrooms at the fort, or
the ones on Main Street
when they get.
Do we need to make arrangements with people to get those available and open, or what?
Well, I mean, we should be opening sometime here in the
I
next
know
couple
we
weeks.
do.
The
I
ones
think-
on
I
Main
think-
Street.
Yep, we do.
I mean, the farmers market, when it's open, the fort's open the same hours.
Yes.
And
I mean, we can clarify and ask the fort, but I don't think they stop anyone. From
they don't
going in
stop
and using
anyone. I
those
mean, it's
restrooms.
a national park.
I won't be voting on this, obviously, but I will say that I've been contacted on several occasions by them, and you're talking, when you say they can go down and use the restroom down at between the 1 and 200 block of Main Street. If you had to use the restroom and you were shopping at the farmers market, they said, well, there's a block and a half down the street.
Yeah.
That's pretty inconvenient for people to make it. That's got to go. Second of all, the farmers market is in the Saturday mornings. I don't even know when it is, but I'm thinking Saturday mornings. It's in the evening and things like that. The chamber's going to
Tuesday evenings and Saturday morning.
Yeah, the chamber's going to be closed, so they're not going to be able to make it down there. And even if they were, still, again, handicap accessibility, whatever, to make it down to that and make it back up the hill, your gender's usually older that's there. They had asked last year that they be provided some sort of restroom facility, and the city didn't provide it, and I actually provided it for a summer for free.
Was that right there on the corner behind, like the Gordon Parks picture up on the brick wall? Is that where you had it at? I mean,
No, it was right up there where the good old days. We just left it right there across from the barber shop at that time.
So I'm in agreement with one thing with Matthew. I mean, as people, I mean, let's face it, when people come to town to visit Fort Scott, the aesthetics and the historical fort, I mean, I'm thinking, well, these guys can't have a bathroom anywhere. They got a porta potty sitting right here, is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm not trying to push putting a porta potty there. I'm just saying
Yeah.
their argument was that,
Sure.
and there's places up there that could be set off the in the corner or something back behind a building or what have you. But I'm just saying that's what they'd asked for, and a block and a half away isn't going to be suitable for them.
A lot of it's probably for the vendors, because I wouldn't think the people shopping, I mean, how long are you usually at the farmer's market? Most of them.
I don't know who uses it,
Are
but they
they a
use it.
nonprofit? Are they set up as an organization at all?
I don't think so, because
I know they've-
Kansas Department of Revenue wants them to pay sales tax, so they're individuals.
Yeah, each individual booth
Yeah.
pays their own
Yeah.
sales tax.
And I'm assuming we just always let them use that area for free and all that. And
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
what's our policy, like if let's say the good old days say, hey, we supply porta potties for us for the weekend, or anything else down there? I mean, is that
Well, we gave them $5,000.
right?
Well, we go out to bid every year for porta potties.
But I'm just saying
for
if-
the events,
I didn't know
Oh,
if they were
okay.
set up as a nonprofit, or what's been our thing in the past, or someone's gonna hold a garage sale down there a couple weekends and say, hey, you set me up a porta potty, will you guys do that? I don't know. I'm just
Well, I'd be curious. I mean, before I approved it, I'd like to know where's it going to be put at, to where it's there, but it's least.
Yeah, if we've got a nice location that's out of purview of the front of the foregrounds, if it's off to the side, if it's down there next to the chamber or anywhere, that, yes, let's find out where we want to.
Yeah, and again, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for them. If you wanted to make a trip up there and talk to them, they'd be more than happy to tell you, what they want, why they need things like that, and what the amount of people. We always talk about tourism and bring people to town to spend money. And I suppose these people that come in here probably don't just buy goods there. They probably go over and eat at restaurants and things like that.
Right.
So
I mean, it's a draw to the farmer's market is, and that's kind of what they'd said. They said they could do it out of their own pocket, but they was wanting to see if the city would help out with that, since it is beneficial to the economy of the city.
well, and like I said, I did it last year for
Yeah,
for them to
I
help
did
out,
push
so.
for the vegetables.
Do what?
And they said that they couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's right. You know the story.
I actually tried to fight for it this year.
So
let's decide a couple of areas where we think we might want to put them first.
Okay. I can kind of go out and scope it out and then reach out to them and see what their thoughts are.
We want to stick historical fort. We'll just put an outhouse out there.
Now that we could do.
You got any models that look like actual Civil War outhouse?
Yeah.
actually do.
There you go.
I could go with that
Truly
little
historic.
patio
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then Diane had reached out to the Kansas League of Municipalities, and they said that they could teach us Kansas Open Meetings Act training. We kind of wanted to see of the consensus of the commission, how many would like to attend that, and so we could get material. You guys would. So,
I
yeah.
believe you're all required.
I was gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
gonna speak up here.
Is this the same one that Jeff Dean did in-house when he was here
Yes,
that Saturday?
it is. This will be done virtual
Yeah.
by the league.
Yeah.
And it's a requirement of attendance. We just need a date.
Yeah. Well, we actually need to know how many of you are willing to do that, and then we'll try to work out a date, because it's we got to get books.
It didn't sound like it was a case of willing to
Yeah.
do it. I think it was.
That's not how I read it either.
No.
Yeah.
And in case we have any questions, especially if it's during the weekend,
Okay.
I'm sure the city attorney will want to be right there with us
You should-
in the training.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get out, send out that back to them and get the material, and then work on that. Send out dates where
Is
we
it a
can.
full day training?
I know.
Just a couple
It's
hours?
about probably 3 hours, because they usually do Coma and Cora with together, and it's probably 3 hours for just the Cora. Okay, or the Coma, and then the invoice. Just an FYI, I kind of try to keep you up to speed on things. We're going to start looking into the little blue wayfinding signs. I know Pete had mentioned that a little bit, but we're also going to try to get grants, and I'll try to twist Rob's arm a little bit so we can look for wayfinding sign grants internally as well. We want to kind of get signage out on 54 as well as 69 for our vendors on the highways, as well as wayfinding signs internally. So that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, a Commissioner reports. Tim.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet.
I guess I asked Jason earlier, Peter Earls was going to try and come back with kind of a rough estimate of what they'd done for the steps, Memorial Hall down in Pittsburgh. You were saying hopefully this week he'll come by and look at it.
Yeah, so what we did, we reached out to the contractor that is, I don't remember if they did a design build or it was a bid, but that contractor had bid the original plan for City Hall at Pittsburgh. Steps are similar, maybe not quite as large maybe, but style is very similar. So what happened was an architect had designed the whole layout and came with their bids, and it was way too high, so that's why I don't have a number for you, because it's getting reevaluated.
Okay.
And changed. So, however, that contractor, I reached out to them to see if they were willing to come to Fort Scott and look at the steps, and they'd asked, and I think I'd requested before, and actually I've seen the last time that was renovated, maybe some plans, which I think are probably located in Memorial Hall. So the only request they had was, you know, do you have a set of plans? So, you know, getting that and coordinating with them, he said he would call me back sometime later this week to set up a time to meet. And I talked to Bill Downey, since he's there. You know, if I can't make it, that somebody can be there and talk with them. So.
Okay, thank you.
So it's in the works.
And then Kelly, thank you for, and Diane for taking care of that railroad crossing over there by Five Corners. That patch that was put in there, did the railroad put that in there or did we put it in?
Nope, they did. We cannot touch their tracks.
I don't know if you saw it, but there was concrete with a rebar sticking up, exposed. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. They said that they were gonna, somehow that shrank or something, that plank, and they're gonna have to come in and do a lot more extensive, but that would get us by until they could do that.
Yeah, I'm amazed nobody lost a tire on that.
Yeah.
Also,
kids on the bus are a little disappointed in the patch because used to get a really good bounce there.
Yeah. And also, you know, just for everyone that tunes into the commission meetings, remember there's a lot of great activities this weekend going on at Fort Scott. We got the bike race out at Gun Park. We got the reenactment at the fort, among other things. So get your family and friends to come to Fort Scott this weekend. Fort Scott cheer team actually ended up finishing 6th nationally. Yeah. The Greyhound team did. So congratulations to them. Thanks to everyone that signed up for the downtown cleanup this coming weekend. Get the town cleaned up, and I can't be there, but my wife signed up to go down there for the afternoon and pitch in. So she'll do a good job. And then other than that, I kind of want to go to the next golf course advisory board meeting. Just some questions on some stuff. I mean, I was curious that on Sunday of this week that, you know, the policy out there used to be if it was 40 degrees or warmer and it wasn't like pouring rain that they were open. And we had an announcement that went out that, you know, said the course was going to be closed, and I called over to Nevada and they were open. And we need to, as we talked about earlier, you know, we don't need more closed days. We need more ways to keep money flowing through there. And there's people just as crazy as I am and other people that will get out there on a 42 or 44 degree day and play. So I'm going to go to the next meeting and get clarification on that. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Josh?
Few things real quick. Buoy placements, I know we've talked about that a few times, and the commission approved to move them back, and I don't think they've been moved back yet. At the last meeting, they said by this meeting, they would have the...
I don't know if Tom's gotten the boat out yet, but I'll reach out to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can move those. Well, I think that's our plan, is moving back kind of where they were. It's our lake. We can put them where we want to. There was a 200 feet some confusion there, but I think we got that lined out.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Thank you, Travis.
The only other thing is, once again, the handicap parking.
We're gonna do that Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in charge of the handicap stuff, so I'll help out with that.
And the other thing is, I asked Bob, I don't know if you had a chance yet to check on the Sunday sales. Last year when they changed it to...
Already got the ordinance and dictated indicated the change, and you'll have it at your next meeting.
Oh.
You can do it, I just had to change time.
Perfect.
Yeah. Got you
All
taken
right.
care of.
Thank you, sir. I think that's it for me.
Shane.
So Rob's here and wanted to have an executive session about 2 different business entities. Is that something we want to?
We usually do that right at the very end. Okay. And we'll go to executive session.
Other than
Yeah,
that,
we usually do that at the end, then we'll go into executive session.
I didn't want him to sit here all night if he didn't.
He gets one street plan done, he's running the meeting. This guy's courage. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, the bike race this weekend. It may rain. That's not good.
That's good. That's
You can't ride in the rain. We are going to, now that we're involved with this, start building a team of kids here. And we're probably going to team up with like Pittsburgh, because this is an all over the state thing. So try to get 15, 20 kids interested in it. And they usually have 6 races a summer. So
Will they consider doing some younger kids? Because I know some kids that are
they'll do
10, 11, and 12. who would like
They'll
to
do
it.
6th, 7th, 8th, and then high school. And they have different groups. They don't ride as much if they're younger kids. They don't. And we've cut ours down. The racetrack's only 2 miles long, so they'll do different laps. Because there's a lot of restrictions for them. They can't have dangerous stuff. So.
anything else, Shane? Matt?
Mr. Mayor, if you want to have an executive session right now, we can do that.
No, I'd like to hear your comments first. Let's get them out of the way. I've got so much to say tonight.
Just a few quick things. Jason, can I ask you a couple questions as far as the compaction on road cuts? So, my biggest question was, it was my understanding that according to that section 02222 in our spec sheet, that anywhere that there is a utility cut underneath the road, that the entire trench has to be filled with a gravel compaction and then layers of AB3 at 12 inches moistened and compacted up into 6 inches from the road surface.
Yeah, so per your existing specs, which this was one of the sections that we were trying to get revised and actually remove some ordinances that gave some direction that may not be suitable anymore. So there's kind of some back and forth. So we've got a contractor right now doing the Old Faithful project. And maybe that's where some of the questions come from.
Yes, sir.
But ultimately, yes, if they are under a driving surface, which is a roadway, alley, driveway, there's granular backfill that should be placed in the trench up to a level just below the subgrade of what would be the improved surface. Okay. So if it's the roadway, which in this case the city's going to do, so basically they'll need to backfill up to the bottom of the subgrade, which I believe is supposed to be AB3 below the pavement.
Yeah, I
But
think
if
the
it-
way the spec calls it for us, we do some sewers and alleys and streets and stuff like that. You can bed the pipe with 1/2 inch clean and down, and it'll be 6 inches under the pipe, and I believe 12 inches above the pipe.
Right.
And then at that point, you'll take off an AB3 compacted. And you're saying the city's in charge of the backfilling?
Of the pavement.
Okay.
So whatever pavement is removed, that was removed from that bid. So NOAC's not doing any paving operations, which
Right, but they'll do the
includes
backfilling on the
AB3.
pipe.
But yeah, the backfill in the trench, yes, they are doing that.
And then are we, and I guess this would be a question for both of you, are we doing inspection on that, or do you do inspection on that, Jason?
We are not doing any compaction testing on that.
Okay.
So, my experience with NOAC goes back to probably 2001.
Okay.
So they're a very reputable contractor.
Okay.
And, they're going to stand behind their work. So I'm not really concerned. Typically on these projects, it's not done.
Okay.
If you have a big project like Cooper, the city has asked us to look at testing that. So we've got for an example, we've collected samples of the clay as well as the rock that they were peeling off, and that should be getting tested this week. So we'll have a number to check for compaction on those. But yeah, typically trenching, they roof roll. He's got a sheep's foot attachment that he's using with his the big backhoe to roll that as he backfills.
'Cause I was confused because when I saw it, they had dirt.
And that's where he's working today is not a driving area. So
Right, but in the street they had dirt dumped in there.
So
they
there
were starting to compact
could be
it.
some.
So that's why I was asking that question.
And ultimately, when you come through, if you get the rock in the trench up to a level, and I think it per plan, I think we had a 6 or 12 inch above for that granular backfill, and depending on where it was, I need to look at the plans, but that could be AB3, but soil is suitable as well. If you look at the spec book, it probably says something different than whatever that ordinance was. So I know we've ran through this before on that 3rd Street manhole, but that was a manhole. So these are specific to trench backfill.
Yeah, this one says.
So it's kind of
compact.
you're going to see different things.
Okay. So.
And I think ultimately at the end of the day, and I've said it before, means and methods of the contractor, and he's going to warranty that work. So if the city comes back and paves over that and it fails, we're going to call the contractor and say, hey, your backfill is probably the reason, and we're going to need you to come back.
So does that go with everything, every contractor? Because we just opened up a trench and without getting too muddy in the waters, that the whole thing is clean rock.
Yeah. So, and that's why I thought from many months ago that it was important to review those ordinances, get them out of there where they aren't suitable, update the specs, and get that approved. And I think it's been before you already. There's 3 sections of the specs that really need fixed because there's too much confusion.
Right.
So
and it's pretty simple. There shouldn't be any confusion.
Right. But one thing says something, and you look in a different place, and it says something else.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Is that where one diagram showed earthen backfill, and then the other part.
How do we get that straightened up?
We need to.
Yeah.
Vote
So
on it,
I want to continue to do that.
Can you bring that back to us?
Yeah.
Bring that back to us at the next meeting so we can clear that
And
up.
I'll sit down with Kelly first, since he hasn't. I don't think you've seen those yet.
No. With Matthew,
So
I've been going
we'll
by
make
his
sure that he's
standard
up to speed.
specifications.
Yeah, and the previous spec, and that's where we started. And we've got those particular sections that we're trying to update and match with like the plans that you see on Old Faithful. They're going to coincide, and there's not going to be any confusion. But at the end of the day, when that contract gets a bid, I have full faith in their ability to provide a good product. So, but we'll get through it.
Thank you, Jason. Matthew, anything else?
I had a question about water infiltration over at Memorial Auditorium. One of the pictures that got sent to me by somebody who works over there is literally an open grate. I guess there must have been a boiler there at one time, but there's no boiler there anymore. So there's literally a hole to the alley, and every time it rains, water's coming in that. So I didn't know if we could.
Okay. I looked at that like you guys asked me last time, and what's happened is the epoxy that they put around the base of the building and where the sidewalk comes up to it has tore open, so we've got to cut some of that out and re-epoxy. So, but that's been some of the penetration, and so yeah.
We can. Surely that's something Public Works can.
Yeah, we can get a good day, or I don't know, myself and the kind of the action team, we can maybe take some of that on too a little bit.
Yeah. There's some products I can help you with also, NP1, things like that.
That's awesome. Okay. And then my last question was basically about the tourism. We're moving Lisa over, and we're splitting her now 50-50 between codes and Jackson and tourism? Is that what we're gonna do with that?
Yeah, Jackson requested with all the events he's doing, that he needs some help with that. She's also been very good help with the legwork, and then we're going to also use her to help solicit the wayfinding signs for the. So yeah, we are splitting her out. Yeah, and then the other, just for the rest of the commission, what she's going to help with in codes is the clerical, so that our code officers can spend more time out of the office than in the office.
Is there the possibility that we could apply for an intern to help Jackson throughout the summer? I reached out to Pittsburgh State University. They have several people who would be interested in an internship, and if it was a small paid internship, they would be very interested.
That would be great because we need to file some stuff electronically. That would be huge. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, so can we have somebody reach out to them? I'll have them get with me, and I can give them the name and number and whatever we need to put together to maybe get some extra help in for the summer.
Great.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So, and then tourism board and the street board, we don't have a commissioner appointed to either of those boards.
No.
Okay. I would volunteer myself to be appointed to those boards if the commission sees so fit. Unless anybody else wants to do it.
Which board was that?
Tourism.
The tourism board and the street board.
Street advisory.
Yeah, the street advisory. Unless you want to do it.
No, I don't want to do it. I'm good.
I'll motion you in right now.
Don't you dare. I already missed one or two lake meetings, and they're probably.
So, it's not necessarily a decision that has to be made tonight, but it was just something I wanted to touch on and put out there because we don't currently have anybody appointed to either of those boards. And so,
Your guys' feel? You want to consider it for a couple weeks, or would you want to do something tonight?
In most of the boards, we don't have a commissioner on. I mean, planning, parks, zone, and I kind of like not having a commissioner on there because I feel like it's outside people putting the thing together to bring to all of us. And I don't know how, like with the Laker board, I think they just wanted, I'm not sure.
They just like me.
And so I don't know. And I don't have a problem with you being on there if we have commissioners on boards. I'm just not a big fan of having commissioners on boards that are just recommendations to us. And so that's, but
I'll agree with that because I mean, like on a lot of things on the lake board, I'm just there because I don't know why, but I don't vote. I don't do anything like that. I just listen and bring it back to the commission. So if it was an inactive type thing, that'd be okay.
that's what both of these are requesting. They're just wanting a liaison.
Well, nothing stops any of us from attending any of those. I've come to lake meetings before and sat in the back. I'm always welcome with open
They're still
arms.
talking about that time.
But I mean, and I've been to tourism board meetings before. They're all open to the public. So, I mean, my only thing I'm worried about is getting down a rabbit hole, and then all of us are going to be on like 5 or 6 different boards, and that would concern me right now. That and the tourism board should be available online, right? They used to be.
Yes.
For us, open meeting and the recorded review. So, I mean, I applaud you if you want to attend both of those that are on there for now, but I'm just worried about all of a sudden, you know, all of us have 6 different boards because we've got a commissioner on everything now. So I'd like to at least digest it for
That's fine.
Okay.
It was just something they had reached out about, and so I wanted
Yeah, and we're not saying don't go.
yeah, I mean, that brings a good point. If you're there, I mean, I don't think they'd have a problem. Yeah, you know, I think if you're there, they're probably gonna say, hey, if you have any input, you know, and so I don't see a problem with that.
Yep.
Shane, what do you think about it?
I mean, I was on design review for like 10 years. We never had a commissioner on there. Very rarely they may ever come. Usually it was like Allie, the community development person, or sometimes the codes person would come. If it was something to do with the building. I don't think it hurts for commissioners to go to these meetings.
Nope.
Yeah, especially like Tim checking into the golf advisory. I think it's good from time to time to pop in anyway. I mean, for all of you at different times, and pop in, yeah.
Matthew?
My final thing, Mr. Mayor, was that April 29th, they're having a thing out in Manhattan, but it would require us. They say it is a great training for incoming commissioners. It's put on by the League of Municipalities, but it's clear out in Manhattan. You have to go.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
So, it's I've got it at home. It was in the magazine that Diane gave us.
I know, I just happen to have the calendar pulled up. I know they have the code enforcement, and then they have the Kansas Mayor's Conference, which I'm sure
That's what
Kevin.
it is.
That what it is?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been to that.
I'm sure Kevin will go to that.
And then the day after the mayor one, they were having one for.
Yeah, because I looked at going to that, but that is, I am out of town the 30th. And
Yeah.
So.
And it's not going to be a virtual one.
No, it's in person. Yeah.
You have to go to it. Yeah. Training thing. So.
Yeah, and I might go the 29th. I know I'm out of town the 30th, so I think it's Topeka though, isn't it?
Manhattan is what I read.
Is it Manhattan?
It is
Okay, it's
Manhattan.
Topeka.
Yeah. I didn't know if anybody else. I mean, if you're going to go.
I might go that Friday, Saturday. It just depends. I need to check and see if I'm busy Friday.
All right, but if more than two of you ride in a car, Diane's gonna have to put an announcement on.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. If anybody else was thinking about going, holler at me. I might maybe ride along or whatever.
Take a truck.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
But I know we can't all go.
No, that's a good. Find another resource, other towns. I mean, that's heavily attended. Yeah.
All right, that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And the only thing I had tonight, Travis, was going to ask you. We talked last meeting. I do something simple about the stop sign on 2nd Street. Where are you at on it? And the no parking on 12th.
The signs are ordered for no parking on 12th. We removed the sign on State Street on the tractor trailer. That somebody put that on a utility pole. I don't think that was put on by city workers.
Oh, okay.
And then the stop sign at Second Street and the Howland. I don't think they've done a strip yet or a counter at Public Works yet.
I thought I saw one over there.
I asked Jerry today, and I don't think it's
Maybe
done.
There was just an old air hose laying there.
But
I was reached out to this week for people living on 2nd Street. The people living over there saying, please reconsider it. Even though I'm the one that brought it up because they said, the other stop sign's still 6-7 blocks away, and some do gain speed pretty quick.
Well, I've gone over and looked at it a couple times since we've talked about it. I really don't recommend you do anything with it. The way Howland comes down and kind of doglegs there at the end, you have to kind of really twist back to look towards the west. There are some bushes that are on the west side of that intersection, kind of at the houses, I think technically county. And when first time I went over and looked, you kind of look through the bushes because the leaves weren't on. The second time, I mean, the leaves are coming on, and it's I don't want to say it's a terrible blind spot, but it's been there for years. I'd really suggest you leave it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't know if a yield sign would be meet in the middle. I don't know if that. What's your thoughts on that? Or I
would say leave the stop sign. I mean that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, if they do the
there's
traffic
there's
count.
not been a traffic count or anything there, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, if they can do that at least, and then we can kind of put numbers to it, or how many cars go there.
Stoplight. Okay, that's all I had. So, did you want to say something about executive session?
Yeah.
You got to
Rob
read
was
off that
wanting-
paper.
Right
Make
here.
sure you read it
I got it.
exact.
You want me to do it, Shane?
Don't make him do it.
Yeah. I move that the city commission recess an executive session for the purpose of Rob from Be Ready speaking about some business issues pursuant to the financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual proprietorships exception in KSA 754319B4. The open meeting will resume in
The city commission meeting room.
Depends if you guys have questions, let's say 10 minutes.
Okay. The open meeting will resume in the commission room at 9:15
PM.
The commissioners, Bob, Kelly, and Rob.
I think we got it covered, Diane.
Is there a second?
I'll
Josh Jones, Tim Van Hookey.
Yes.
Shane Walker,
Yes.
Matthew Wells,
Yes.
Kevin Allen.
Yes.